Hey, everybody. Welcome to Open the Gates. I'm your host, Matt Burke. And tonight we're going to be having on an awesome friend of mine, wonderful artist. His name is Preston Asevedo. So if you guys give a warm welcome to Doc, also known as Preston Asevedo. What's up, brother?
You know, I always suspected we were friends.
Right?
Yeah, it's good that you confirmed it.
Right. Yeah. Hell yeah, man. How's it going, man? Haven't seen
It's
you in
going
like
good, dude.
20 minutes or so.
Yeah, I know, right? Haven't seen you in so long. No,
Right.
it's good, dude. Everything's cool. Like I had to. I have a problem. You know, I have a fucking Doberman that's spoiled rotten. Like during shows, whenever you see me like pause the camera and shit like that, it's
Yeah.
because the dog is pushing my door open and like
Oh, yeah,
barging
yeah.
into the room. So I have to get up and close the door, and because he sits there and just stares at me, kind of like the way
yeah.
Brian was talking about like Michael Myers, you know, like just
The shape.
yeah, he's just staring at me, you know, like powering up or some shit like that.
Yeah, my kids do that. My kids do the same thing, man.
Hey, really?
Yeah, all the time. That's
It's
hilarious.
crazy, dude. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I've noticed. I've raised my share of kids, and I can tell you, like, an animal isn't that much different.
Right? No, they're like a bunch of babies.
Especially when it lives in your house. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
100%, man.
medical bills are almost as expensive as kids.
Oh shit! Everybody,
Ooh,
welcome,
Brian.
Ryan Kreisgau. What's up, brother?
Not much, just having a little something to nibble, having a little tea. Notice that Preston has changed hats.
I don't know what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about. Brian, look a little red in the face. You been getting some sun?
Yeah,
It's good.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah. I like I said, I don't tan. I just kind of burn, like turn like red.
You like my wife's like that. Like I keep telling her, I was like, your problem isn't that you can't tan; it's that you don't have any melanin.
You got some color in you, so like you're all right.
Well, that's
But-
like when we go to the beach. Like she's like, you better put suntan lotion on. I was like, I don't need it. I got melanin. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. No, I mean that's why I often like I say that I'm melanin deprived. I should be paid for that. I should
Yeah.
disability get money for.
Like we'll go sit in the sun and she'll just be frying. I'll hear her sizzling over there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like all right. It's like, how's that suntan lotion working?
Yeah,
Dude,
I had a long drive today. Yeah,
I'm the same way, man. I like burn like I got like I didn't put all the sunblock in the right spot, so like there's like a little like tan, like a little white streak right here on my shoulder. And it was tan on both sides.
You see, if I was you,
Like that.
I would totally take advantage of that and draw little skulls on my arms and
Yeah.
shit like that.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
And just have that shit like tan in.
Yeah, right.
Tattoos.
They were doing that for a while, like at tanning salons, like for chicks, like on their lower back. Yeah, dude, they had like it was almost like a temporary tattoo. Like they would put like a little stencil on there while they were tanning.
Yeah. Oh,
And
shit.
when they came out, they'd peel the stencil off, and it would be white, where the rest of their body would be crispy. You know, so
Gotcha.
Yeah, it lasts
So
forever.
it's basically
I've
a
had it for, like,
temporary tramp stamp.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally, man.
What are you guys talking about?
Oh man, we're just talking about a bunch of stuff, just chilling right now. Like we're all a bunch of buddies, but I mean, we know each other, but Preston, man, there's a lot of cats out there that probably don't know your work, man. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a self-taught painter, illustrator. I don't know. I know how to do everything as far as art, almost everything. Like I know how to sculpt, but I don't, because it's too time consuming. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Don't forget the tattoos.
yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like I learned everything I could possibly learn to go ahead and be a successful artist. Not because I have like some great passion to learn everything. It's out of malice. Because I wanted to prove everybody wrong that said I couldn't make it. And that's actually not a lie. That's actually the truth.
That's awesome. I mean, a lot of us get our motivation from negative places.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
It's like Preston's one of those guys. Tell him he can't do it, he's gonna do it.
Well, the thing is, I told Matt this before, like we were talking about this on my channel, like the metal shop. Like I listened to my parents when I was a teenager when they told me don't go into art because you'll fail. So I was like, well, I'll go into drafting, because those guys, because I was a big fan of H.R. Giger back in the day, but like when I was a teenager, and I was like, well, Giger's parents told him the same thing, and he went into drafting and pulled that into his artwork, right?
Yes.
And I was
McFarlane.
like,
yes.
Yeah, so I was like, I'll do that because they were stuck because I was a terrible student. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't focus, and my default was just drawing in my notebook.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, and so they were like, so I told them, I said, they were like, well, you going to trade school? I said, you're a shitty student. I was like, all right. So I was like, well, I want to do drafting, and they were like, there's no money in drafting.
Oh man.
And they were like, no, you have to go into electronics, because everybody needs their shit fixed. And I'm like, I hate electronics. Well, I like messing with electronics, but I just don't like, I wouldn't want to do it for a living. It's like, yeah, I'll cook a burger, but I'm not going to flip a bunch of them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
myself a burger.
So exactly. So I was like, so I said, all right, because I was like, they know best. They're older than me, but I should have been smart enough to know, like, these people don't own a house. They're not successful. Why am I taking advice from these people? And so I went into electronics and fucking hated it. You know what we did when I was in electronics? One, we sat in the back, watched movies, and we used to charge up capacitors and leave them around the shop. So people would pick them up. It would shock the shit out.
Funny.
And
You cared.
so of course I failed out because I refused to study. I figured, because you got to study about capacitors, how much they fucking hold, and little fucking diodes. And I was like, I ain't doing all this shit, dude. So I quit. And my parents basically told me, like, you're disowned at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, you made this decision, you live with it, enjoy being a failure, basically, And so then, now, it wasn't easy, like, to get into the art field, because back then they weren't, like, it depended on where you went. Like, if you wanted to be in advertising or t-shirts or anything like that, which a lot of t-shirts companies doubled as advertising companies because they dealt with everything, right? Like anything from mugs to commercials and shit like that. So I was like, all right. So I didn't know what a portfolio was. That's how raw I was. So I went ahead and I would bring sketchbooks over there. And none of these motherfuckers would give me a chance because I never had a degree. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they had this one dude, like this one black dude, right? He was like, and the art director was looking at my work, and she was about to tell me to get out the door, But he was one of the oldest artists there, and he was there from the very beginning when the company started.
Wow.
And at one point, he was the art director, but he was they wouldn't let him be the art director anymore because he was making a mess of things. And this is what I think I learned too. Like any true artist, it's hard to keep an artist on a schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be here at 5 o'clock, or 8 o'clock.
Right.
Dude, you tell me that, I'm gonna be there at 6. I'm saying 6:30. Anyway, in fact, well, he was walking by and he said, "This boy's got a good hand. Y'all should give him a shot." And she was like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm serious." So they did. So yeah, but it wasn't that simple. They hired me, but not really, right? Because the deal was they hired me and they hired another guy from LSU, Louisiana State University. And he had a degree. And he was telling me, he was like, what kind of opportunity this is? This is just our foot in the door. And I was like, yeah, I know. Well, he couldn't catch on, and he never had actual talent. He had a degree.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they fired him and kept me,
Nice.
And so back then and a lot of people think I'm lying when I say this, but I swear to God, it's true. I was making $3.50 an hour, and I was doubling as a security guard at night to kind of make ends meet, and it was rough, dude. I did that for about a month. Then I realized, like, people need sleep.
Yeah, totally.
So, and usually if they catch you sleeping and you're a security guard, you get fired. And the only reason I like the security guard job is because everybody left me alone. I could draw all night,
Yeah.
And yeah, so within I think 3 years, 2 years, something like that, I went from $3 something an hour to $10 an hour.
Nice.
And this was back when $10 was actually $10, like something.
Yeah.
And then I became the art director after that. And then I quit because I was like, there's a cap,
Yeah.
and then you have to move on. And then I had other companies courting me to go to work for them,
Nice.
And now I learned a lot from that first company, because back then you had an art room you went into,
Okay.
and you had different artists at different desks, and every artist knew something different than what you knew.
Oh, that's dope.
And me, I was coming in, I was like, I use a pencil and a Sharpie, or something.
Right.
And then I had a guy next to me that was doing watercolor, and a guy next to him that was doing pastels. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
So I was tapping all these guys, like learning everything they knew. And a lot of them didn't like me because they were professional artists, they had degrees.
Right.
And they kept trying to sabotage me. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because here's the deal. It wasn't that I was making more than them, because I wasn't. The deal was I shouldn't be there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I never had a degree.
Oh, motherfuckers, man.
Yeah.
But it's funny because those guys eventually fell by the wayside. Because every time I got a raise, they would throw a fit and go up there in mass and demand a raise because Preston got one and he doesn't have a degree,
Yeah.
Dirty motherfuckers, man.
Yeah.
But that was, I want to sound like that was all of them, because you remember that black guy I was telling you about? He was self-taught.
Yeah.
And he grew that company,
Right.
So he always had my back. Like, now don't get me wrong, he was also taking advantage of me at the same time, because I didn't know anything. And he was like, draw this, I got a job on the side and I'll cut you in. And he was making like $500 on his job and giving me like $30. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, whatever, But back then I was still learning. And
Right.
And I got to tell you, like, the struggle is worth it, because you learn a lot. You learn a lot about like how to survive as an artist, because it's not just I can draw real well. I have to learn how to run my business, how to make deadlines, how to go ahead and compete with people who are obviously trying to take me down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was rough, dude, but it was worth it. And even though it was hard back then, like I tell this story a lot, and this is no bullshit. Boss comes in there, he's like, and there's me and there's a bunch of other artists, and he just got the Walmart deal. Well, he's working on getting a Walmart deal. He was like, we need 5 solid designs. You're going to work over the weekend, and if you don't show up in this office with at least 3 designs each, you're fired. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of guys were like, well, am I getting paid and all this? I'm like, all right, got it.
Yeah.
Because you didn't back then. Like, I knew for a fact, like I wasn't high. I never knew enough, and I wasn't high enough to go ahead and make demands. You have to eat shit before you can actually dish the shit out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And dude, it was a struggle, but like the struggle was worth it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, like, slipping into comics, it really wasn't that difficult, because deadlines, I don't really care about deadlines because it's not a problem.
Right.
And like, I know my craft enough to where, like, I can say, like, no, this shouldn't go this way. You're wrong. Let me go ahead and do it this way, and I guarantee you'll be right. But you also have to. It's kind of a fine line too, because you can't be full of yourself to where you feel like you don't make mistakes either.
Right. You're not perfect.
So if you're wrong, you have to admit to it. And that's one thing I learned too, because back in that office, like that first job I had, I noticed like a lot of guys, and I actually started to fall into it, where a lot of people would be like, if a job came back wrong, they would blame everybody but except to blame themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I started thinking, and at first I was doing that, and then when I realized I was doing it, I was like, that is the most pussy thing I've ever done. I was like, nah, dude, if you're gonna be, because I was raised, one thing I can say, although my dad was very abusive, I could say this, like, he did teach me to own my mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Or else, you get your ass whipped. But so I started owning my mistakes, and they're like, and I think it weirded them out at first. Because if they printed 2,000 shirts or something like that, and the word was misspelled and nobody caught it, you see what I'm saying? Like, you can't.
Yeah.
It's and they'll be like, "Did you do this?" I'm like, "Well, obviously I did it." Yeah. Nobody else did that. That was me. You left this color out? Yep, that's me. You should check it better. I'm dyslexic. But yeah, dude. So that's basically it.
It seems like all that
galvanizing, refreshing, right? Because you're always used to hearing cheap excuses, and this dude's just like, "Yeah, it was me." Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was at a con. And I was, and this was years later, like when I was in my late 20s or something like that, early 30s. And this guy came up to me and he was telling me, he was like, "I really like your work." I was like, "Thanks." And he goes, "I just don't think, like, I work as an artist too, but I don't think my boss understands because it's art and you can't put that on a deadline." I was like, "You're absolutely wrong." I was like, "If you're working for a company, that's production line, and that's completely different than working. You're not Salvador Dali, motherfucker. You're designing shit for a fucking company." And he goes, "Yeah, you're right." He goes, "I need to call my boss."
Yeah, it's true, man.
Because.
Oh, sorry.
No, I feel like a lot of people are in love with the idea of doing my job and the way it looks on the outside, but they don't really know how it works. You know what I'm saying?
They don't want to do the work.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, when it comes down to it, even though they might have a spark of talent, they waste it because they're like, they don't make their deadlines, or they become like prissy. You know what I'm saying? Like, "I'm too good for this," or whatever.
Yeah.
How dare you speak to me? How dare you make changes to my work?
Get real precious and personal.
Yeah. How dare you add pages to this?
Yeah.
Well, geez, man, it sounds like you learned a lot from that experience, man.
Well, you got to, dude. It's a struggle. Like, if you don't go through the struggle, it's like if everything's, the saying, like, if you never worked for it and it's given to you, you don't care for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody gives you a car, you're going to rag the car out. But if you have to work 6 months to get that car, and starve and not go out and all this kind of shit because you really want that car, you're not wrecking that car. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's totally true.
And it's something you own too. Like, each time it's like you level up, you unlock something new in your brain, a new skill, and you own it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Well, that's because you have to like what you're doing too. It's like panel work. I hear a lot of people complain about panel work. They're like, "Oh, I fucking hate panel work."
I like panel work.
I like it too because, like, I'll be honest. At first, I didn't like it because I was like, "I want to be a comic artist. I just want to do covers." And that's not a comic artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not telling a story.
Yeah.
So, and I hated it at first, but then it's almost like once you start accepting the pain,
and
then you can start working with the pain. You know what I'm saying? And it's not pain anymore. It's like it becomes like pleasure after a while because you want it. And I think. Yeah, and then you can become creative with it. Like, you can start breaking panels. You can start, I followed all of the rules. I followed all of the rules at first, until I knew them, and then I broke all the rules.
Mm-hmm. Right, but you have to know the rules before you break the rules.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah.
Like Picasso, you look at Picasso's early paintings, they don't look like regular old paintings, right? They don't look like Picasso's. That's because he trained as a standard artist, and then was like, "Okay, now I know all the rules. Time to fuck them up."
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Look at Greg Capullo's early work. Greg Capullo did this early. I'm talking about before Quasar. I'm talking about fucking way back, right? When him, Eric Larson, Angel Medina all worked at the same company.
Yeah.
And dude, he looked like any indie artist. Just fucking like trying to keep everything like flowing. All the panels were perfectly square. And nothing broke out the panel or anything like that. You never you would not recognize the modern Greg Capullo to the old Greg Capullo, like, first started out, And then after a while, he started breaking the rules because he knew all the rules at that point. It was drilled into him,
Yeah.
And, dude, it's just the way it is. You have to learn your craft before you can master your craft, I guess. I don't know.
For sure.
I agree.
For sure.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things by you is the Rockabilly Road Trip trade paperback.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember you were like kind of like upset about it because you were just like, oh my God, it's like it was what it was.
I wasn't upset about it. It was just
like years, right?
Yeah, dude. It was over the course of 10 years, maybe more, maybe 15 years, something like that.
Right. And I thought, like, this is a perfect book to show to new artists.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You can see an evolution in that motherfucker.
Totally. Seriously, dude. Totally. It's just like reading that book, you're watching Preston become Preston.
Kind of. Like that last book in that series. I'm not talking about Rockabilly Road Trip #1, the one that was colored. I'm talking about the one in the trade,
Right.
Like the whole book was a blast to do, but that last book, it was like you said, it was evolution. I think in one part, I even looked like Sim a little bit. Like style kind of resembled Sim, just the hair,
Yeah.
And but no, dude, it's because I was never satisfied with the art style that I was doing. I don't even know if I'm satisfied with it now. And I'll be honest with you, it's because I don't know if I'm good. The judge if you're good or not isn't you. You're not the judge.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I know.
It's everybody else. Like so if people aren't collecting your work or fucking like buying your shit or fucking nominating you for shit, then are you good? I'm just saying, like, so you keep evolving because you're scared of not being good.
Absolutely. But I mean, we've had this conversation before. It's all about like never giving up. That's sort of the Hucka side. I mean, to me, the Hucka side like should be a saint for artists, and because he was like 85, Edo period, Japan. He was a celebrity. Okay, he was a celebrity. He was a rich man, and he had accomplished everything you could possibly accomplish as an illustrator, as an artist in that place and time. And he was just like, if the heavens will just grant me 5 more years, then I can become a true illustrator.
Yeah,
that's the attitude. It's just like
about leveling up.
Don't
Keep going,
ever
right?
stop trying to level up, because when you see people get lazy, you see people get complacent.
Yeah.
You don't want to be those. You don't want to be those people, And then hopefully, if you are coasting, people are going to call you out on it, and then you can course correct and go, "Oh shit, no, I need to put more passion into this." Because
the thing is
comics are just not worth reading.
I notice a lot of people like try to create comics. Well, like their art isn't influenced by life. It's influenced by comics. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like they get their anatomy from comics. You see what I'm saying? And that's the worst fucking thing you can do. I did it. I did it early on.
And the writers too, especially in the 70s, a lot of the people that were writing comics were guys that just read comics.
Yeah.
They had read Dickens and studied Shakespeare. They didn't do.
You see, but and you'll probably agree with this. Like when you dig from a shallow pool, your work comes up stagnant. You see what I'm saying? Like, and that's one thing, dude. Like I was grateful that I was introduced to Heavy Metal magazine. You know what I'm saying? Because Heavy Metal magazine, like the one thing it taught me is that you don't get your anatomy from comics. You know what I'm saying? And the art styles were so vast in Heavy Metal. Like it was like, it's in one book, you go from a completely painted work to a stippled piece to
Corbin doing.
Corbin was, dude, and that's another one too. Like, Frazetta is in there. It's crazy. Like Corbin, that interview with Corbin where Corbin said, if you're struggling with pencil work and you're trying to be a painter, you might as well quit because it's not going to work out, dude. Like you shouldn't be struggling with the basics to go ahead and and do something as complicated as that. So I was like, no, I got to master that shit, dude. You know, so, and, so yeah, and like those old artists like Kirby and all those guys, Kirby even admitted they kept a morgue file, you know, with magazine clippings and shit. Like, in fact, at one point, I think Kirby's first depiction of Ego the Living Planet was actually a collage of photos. It wasn't drawn. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And that like when Steranko would use actual photographs.
Yeah, because Kirby went through a whole phase where Kirby was a true artist. People don't know this, dude, but he went from everything from sculpture to going ahead and using complete collages of photos to make up a whole piece. And that, like, the first depiction of Ego the Living Planet, like full page depiction, was a collage by Kirby, you know?
Crazy.
And yeah, dude, it's nuts. Like, I don't know. And then he approached Marvel about putting out a book where it was all photos, like collages of because he was inspired by French comics. You see what I'm saying? Like, and because I remember, and it was because I studied Kirby for a long time. Dude. I was like, Kirby, because I never appreciated Kirby when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until I was older, so I was like, wow, Kirby really knew what he was doing. Like, this dude was fucking crazy good. You know?
Yeah. As a kid, I remember like having an argument. Well, not an argument, a conversation with my friend. Who must have been, I don't know, 8 years old or something. We're just like, yeah, everybody's calling Kirby the king, but all of the human beings that he draws, they look like robots.
Well, that's another thing too. Like, Kirby's anatomy was horrible, you know. But in the beginning, his anatomy was correct. He wasn't any different from any other comic book artist out there. And then he went through this shift. And you know what it was? It wasn't a shift because he was consciously trying to level up. It was a shift because he had to get books out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what he did was he streamlined his style, and he was moving. I mean, they have a story about Kirby and his buddy like renting a hotel room. And 2 days in that hotel room, they had 3 books done. You know what I'm saying? Like,
damn, son.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy how fast this motherfucker was.
Like murals in the ghetto where he lived, like really high def, like fucking great anatomy, all kinds of like stories I've heard. You know.
Well, like Kirby went. He was an animator at Hanna-Barbera. He left there, went into comics, was a huge hit in comics, and then when comics turned against him, he went back to animation, and they never went back to comics again until Image rolled around, and they started championing to get Kirby his artwork back. You remember that, right? And they put out that one shot where it was all Kirby, and you had every artist from Image inking the pages, right? Like McFarlane took a bunch of pages, Eric Larson, all these guys took a bunch of Kirby's pencils and they inked it.
How intimidated do you think they were?
I got that book. I bought it. And even then, I really couldn't appreciate it because I was so into like the Image artists, you know? But you don't realize like all of those guys' styles and their impact on comics came from Kirby.
Yeah.
Like,
a lot of people, man.
Here's the thing about Kirby. What Kirby really gave us was movement. He gave us comic books that moved.
Yeah.
That didn't look like still pictures. Mm-hmm. Like in the dynamism, man.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like, it wasn't movement that he gave us dynamics. You know what I'm saying? Like, he put there was no artist out there at the time. I don't care who you put up, Sal Buscema, you know, Neil Adams. In fact, Neil Adams even says like Kirby fucking inspired him to break panels and do crazy perspectives and shit like that. You know?
Nobody drew somebody punching somebody like Kirby. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't look like, Batman's fist glancing off of somebody's chin. It was, pow, it would be a big fucking explosion. And, it was epic. It was epic.
It made you cool angles,
too. The story you were reading was epic.
Yeah, epic. Always switching up the angles and the fights. It was awesome.
Now, there was a time I wanted to be a mainstream artist, right? But for some odd reason, I couldn't fit in that mold. You know, like I couldn't be that type of artist because I think I was too much of a metalhead. You know, like, I'm serious because I would like I couldn't think in those dynamic perspectives. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, if you got a hero, you got to do him like this. But then when that Lobo series came out, you know, with Bisley illustrating the whole thing. I was like, well, this motherfucker isn't doing all that.
No.
This shit looks badass. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't do it, but he did something different. He fucking infused brutality into every panel, right?
Oh
like,
my god.
Yeah.
dude, like, he made Lobo intimidate and just ordering a drink. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Have you ever read Slain? That was like the stuff that he did for 2000 AD.
yeah, I got it. In fact, that's another one, like Judge Dredd, like 2000 AD. Like, the problem was
fucked up.
Yeah.
well, the deal was I was so involved with Marvel Comics at the time, you know, when I was a kid,
Yeah.
that in metal albums, right? Like fucking Somewhere in Time and fucking, you know, Anthrax and all this kind of crap. That I wasn't thinking merge the two, you know, until I seen Lobo. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, he fucking did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then 2000 AD, because once I seen that, I was like, I wonder what other work he did. You know what I'm saying? Then I got his primer that 2000 AD put out. Like, they had Bisley's primer, and it had a Judge Dredd story in there and some other shit. You know, I was like, well, there's other companies out there that'll, you know what I'm saying? And so it was, so I think at that point I was like, I don't think I want to do like mainstream. I want to be like this cool underground thing, because then I was introduced to Grendel, you know, Nexus and all of those things. And I realized
dude.
Yeah, and then you realize like that's actual comics. Like, that's a story that you can follow, and it's not like these, you know.
That to me was the real golden age. The real golden age, right? I grew up with the spinner racks and all that shit. I don't remember a time in my life when I wasn't reading comics.
It was the golden age of indie comics that was actually, that I think influenced me the most. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. And then in the 80s, we suddenly had this explosion of the indies. There was Eclipse, there was Malibu, there was my favorite, First Comics.
Yeah, First was the shit.
Grimjack.
And Grimjack, Nexus. And look, dude, it was the best time ever, because Nexus books were $1, you know, 50 cents in some places. You know what I'm saying? I was like,
yeah. And those were dope fucking comics. They just looked amazing, and my God, they could get away with some fucking serious brutality.
Dude, could they? It was just
comic.
The only problem was you couldn't find them everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Because they were self-published, a lot of them, you know, and it was like,
I was lucky. I was lucky because my mom would take me to a shopping mall that had a bookstore, right? And the bookstore had comics, like a whole wall of comics. And we walked in, mainstream shit, Marvel, DC, and the indie shit's over here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the indie shit had this like, or it was in the dollar bin, you know? And they had this one comic shop, I remember it. Like, they had all Marvel and DC were like, you know, they were in these nice, pretty sections, labeled, categorized, all this kind of shit. Then they had this wall, like literally the whole back wall from bottom to top was just shelves full of indie comics, not put in plastic bags or anything like that, you know, just there, you know. And I would dig through there and I'd find, you know, I think I found the whole Nexus series there at one point, and a bunch of Grendels and Samurai Penguins, you know what I'm saying?
I got that book.
I was like, dude, this is fucking insane, right?
That was the best time. If we could get to that place again.
Well, I think we're there. I think right now we're there. Yeah. It's just that nobody wants you to know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's like serious comic collectors are like, you know, I mean, a lot of them are like, well, Marvel, DC, and they're like, well, I guarantee a lot of those serious comic collectors that are like, I'm against Comicsgate and indie people, you know, whatever. I bet you they're backing a lot of these books. Just not telling anybody that they got them in their collection. You know what I'm saying? Because none of these books have anything to do with politics. And I think that's where they get it wrong. And that's what the mainstream wants you to believe. Like, oh, you don't want those books. Those are Trump books or whatever. You know? There's no mention of any of that shit.
I know. It's ridiculous. And the thing is, it's like their comics suck because they get the writers from Twitter and the fucking artists from fucking Tumblr.
Dude, it's the worst thing ever. You know, it's like the hero's journey
Yeah.
no longer exists. And to be quite honest, like I'm kind of glad it happened because it completely burned me out. Like seriously, like it cored me
Would you want to
of
work
mainstream
with
comics. You know?
Would you want to work right?
No, absolutely not. In fact, I made a
Yeah.
decision before I ever got into this scene that I didn't want to do it when I heard horror stories coming back from other people where they said no, they were like Nazis, dude. They would get over there and they would tell you like, no, Superman's logo has to be redrawn because it has to look exactly like this, you know. And they're like, so they would redraw the logo like 10 times, you know. And then I was like, well, fuck that, dude. I don't want to deal with that shit, you know.
The American comic book industry has always had this history of treating its artists like dog shit.
Yeah. But then you had other artists who told them to go fuck themselves and did whatever they wanted. And that was like Bisley, Horley, Kirby, you know, even to a certain extent, Neil Adams, John Byrne. And even though I hate John Byrne, you know, like I have to give him a little bit of credit. And I got a feeling he got away with a lot of the shit he did because he kissed so much ass. You know what I'm saying? But
what a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Love his art. It doesn't change my. I don't love that X-Men run that he did with Chris Claremont and Terry Austin doing inks. I don't love that any less.
No, it's great. You can't. It doesn't mean you have to like the creator. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers don't understand that, and that's one of the reasons I never liked Neil Gaiman, because when I read a Neil Gaiman comic, I always had the feeling that he was trying to tell you what a nice guy he was.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't think I was a big Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman's the one that wrote Sandman, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah.
I did like Sandman. Like Sandman was cool, but then I remember his work on what was that Captain Marvel, that British Captain Marvel, Miracle Man.
Miracle Man?
Dude, it was horrible. Like it was so metaphysical. It was terrible. You know what I'm saying? I was like
pretentious, you mean?
Alan Moore. I think I identify more with Alan Moore. You know what I'm saying? I think he's the better writer out of the both of them.
Oh, dude, he's a legend and an icon too.
Now he's still a little fucked up. Like he's all hooked on porn or some shit like that.
well, whatever. You know, he's still a great writer. He's still
he is. Yeah,
icon
absolutely.
And a legend. This is so fucking gross right here.
We got your this is what you're working on right now, Preston.
Yeah.
Huh?
You see, one of the things I really like about this, because this is like one of the reasons why I really like what I do, is because I get to work with so many writers that, in my opinion, are the equivalent to Alan Moore. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just talking about Brian. Like I think me and Brian, in a way, I don't know if Brian agrees with this, but I think we kind of formed a small, like, creators union between us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
And I'm very grateful that I get to work with Brian.
Dude, I'm the one that's grateful to work with you.
Well, an artist without a writer is just an artist. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a good plotter, but I'm not a very good writer. You see what I'm saying?
Without an artist is it's just a prose writer.
Yeah.
You know, the reason I write comics is because I can't fucking draw them.
Well, I remember they have great teams out there of writers and artists. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of feel like me and Brian are kind of that team. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It feels,
I think so.
Dude. I hope dearly in my heart that that's the case.
No, I really do. I'm being serious because I got a feeling like not just Six Gun Gorilla, but I'm also thinking like all the other projects we're going to be working on. I think
we got a few irons in the fire, don't we?
Yeah, like if I have to hitch my wagon to anybody, it'll be Brian. You know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't have the ego that a lot of writers have, but he's got all the talent. Having a little ego is okay. You know what I'm saying? But having a massive ego can be a problem. But I'm also grateful I get to work with other writers too, that I've worked with other writers like Lit Devil, Vaughn, and fucking like all these guys, dude. Like I don't think people actually. I think history is gonna come back, and when it comes around, like these guys are gonna stand out because of the work they're putting out. You know?
Absolutely, because in 50 years, people are going to be curious what comic books from this decade looked like.
Well, I also think, like, if things were right at the moment and things weren't taken over by a woke revolution and politics and all this kind of shit, I got a feeling like the people I named would be the upcoming Alan Moores. You know what I'm saying? Or the established superstar writers.
Oh, yeah.
And not the people they have now. I mean, the people they have now are kind of talented, you know, but I got to feel like my whole thing is that there's a lot of talented people out there. There's a lot of talented people out there that won't sell their souls just to get a buck out. You know what I'm saying? And I got a feeling like if you'll like bend your knee and break your code to go ahead and get to do Thor or some other book, and they tell you, well, now you have to do this and ruin that character. Yeah. And you know you're ruining it. You know what I'm saying?
A conscious decision.
Like, I don't know, dude. I think if you've done that, then you've broken something inside of you, and it's part of your creativity that you've broken.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Word.
And
I'd do it for $1 billion. I would do it for $1 billion
because I can take the $1 billion and buy the company and fire everybody.
Yeah, something else and never come back.
In house like the entire human race, which then would mean I would still have enough money left over to just be a complete dick and just buy fucking Batmobiles and shit.
Well, it's like the dude. What was it? I think it was Hulu. Like one of the CEOs, one of the owners of Hulu sold Hulu, right? And he took that money and he bought Tubi for like a quarter of the price. and he made all his money back and more because they thought, okay, we got him out of here. We could do what we want. And they're like, wait a minute, he bought Tubi. They're in direct competition with us now. You know what I'm saying?
Taking over, man.
That's savvy business acumen. And that's the real fucking weakness that people like us have. We're not good business people.
Well, no, that's what I'm trying to say, though. Like, if you're going to go into this industry, my uncle taught me that, actually, because my uncle has all the talent in the world on the other end of the spectrum, right? As far as like a wildlife artist, scenery artist, and stuff like that, and a portrait artist. But the one thing that he never had was a good business sense. And that led to him being a failed artist. You know what I'm saying? And like I've seen really, really shitty artists out there that had a really good business sense. And dude, they can make tons of money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because they convince people like, oh no, you know, you got to buy more work because it's gonna be a collector's item, you know, or some shit like that, you know. Or they talk themselves into they talk like corporations into sponsoring them, you know, and they do these elaborate pieces for these guys, you know, and shit like that, and they become instantly famous, you know.
Well, this is why I'm glad, like in Inkslayers, we've got Sim. Sim is a much better has a much better business mind, I think, That
was my, that DRD. I got my mom to buy me that like years ago. And I made it, and I used to bring it to cons with me. And it had a video camera hooked to it. And I had a view screen on the remote, right? And it would go around the con and fucking just...
looking at women's skirts.
Yeah, pretty much, right? But it was cool. I really dug it. But now I took it apart and I just put it in a box and I forgot about it. And until I got back into Farscape, and I was like, "Whoa, Farscape's so badass!" I was like, "Holy shit, I got a DRD."
Speaking of Farscape, what's your favorite movie, man?
Mine? Dude,
favorite movie of all
question.
Time.
Huh?
Dawn of the Dead, 1978.
I would love to say it's a horror movie, but I don't think it is.
Okay, if you can't pick one, then pick three, Preston.
Dude, that's a rough one, dude, because I've watched a lot of movies.
I always do that, man. People just got to see your art, man. There's so much beautiful art you've done out there for so many campaigns and stuff like that, dude. This is
one of my favorite movies was Skrull. No, Skrull? What was not Skrull? What was it? The one with the
Krull?
The blade? Yeah, wait, the one with the blade where he threw the blade. Yeah. What was that called?
I think it was Krull.
Krull?
Krull. Yeah.
It might have. I don't know, dude. Like it was the one where the dude he had the he had fucking, what was that blade called? It was called something. Like it was this, it looked like the Predator blade where you threw it.
Yeah.
And the claws came out of the blade and he would
fantasy movie, right?
Yeah, yeah. And he held his hand out and it would come back to him, you know?
Yeah, like, yeah, I think it was Krull, like Krull. Yeah,
I think Krull was the one that Hercules starred in, you know?
Oh, I think it is Krull though. I think it might be.
Let's see real quick.
This is the best Eric July piece I've ever seen, man. This should have been his cover for like.
Oh, it was. You're right. It was Krull. Yeah.
Krull.
Yeah, Krull was badass, dude.
This should have been Eric's cover, man. I can't believe he didn't.
I'll tell you another movie that fucking blew me away was, and this is my all-time favorite movie, is Rock and Roll. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'll put that even above like heavy metal. Like that shit.
Oh, I love that movie.
Krull. Yeah, Rock and Roll and Krull.
I have to see that. I've never seen Rock and Roll.
Rock and Roll.
Oh, great. It's a Canadian animated movie that's like a musical about like futuristic mutant animals.
Yeah, but dude, it's got like Blondie in it. I'm saying like Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick killed it there. They did a song in there that it took me years to hunt down. You know,
Iggy Pop.
Yeah, Iggy Pop. Dude, this is
damn. I've heard.
Like
okay, it sounds familiar now.
Amazing movie.
Sound familiar.
Dude, it's insane, and it's like an apocalypse hit, and all the animals evolved into people. You know what I'm saying?
You could not get a copy of it for about 20 years.
Yeah.
It was never on VHS, and then finally it got released a double disc, 2 cuts of the movie on DVD.
I found out the warehouse burned down. That's why you can get it was like all the artwork, everything, sketches, everything just fucking thrown up in flames. The original film, you know?
Yeah.
When they re-released it, they had to find people that actually had VHS tapes that they could restore the movie from. You know?
Oh shit.
Yeah, that movie was almost lost forever.
Yep. Yeah, and it's such a treasure.
And Preston, we do the show, sometimes called the Metal Shop. I got to know, what's your favorite metal
shop? Well, when I was a kid, it was Wasp, and now that I'm older, it's Five Finger Death Punch.
Five Finger Death Punch.
Some reason people don't consider. They don't consider Five Finger Death Punch a metal band or something like that.
I do. I think they do a lot of different styles. Like I've heard some of the samples over the years. I listened to them a couple times back in the day, but I got to go back and give them a re-listen.
Well, they're one of the few bands that fucking, when all this woke shit was happening, like early on, they made a video about how stupid it was.
They're like, fuck that.
Yeah, and I was like, fucking respect, dude. That could have got you guys like fucking canceled.
Yeah.
They had like politicians with fucking these gimps on chains, like walking down the street. And if they seen an American flag, they would fucking, she would send her gimps over there to kind of destroy the fucking thing. It was crazy, dude. You got to see that video, dude. It's fucking crazy. And I'm like, and that was when this shit first started up. Yeah,
Krull started to salvo like right away. That's awesome.
God, I gotta watch Krull again, dude. Krull was like an amazing fucking
Liam
movie.
Neeson's in there too. Liam Neeson's in that movie. He's young as fuck.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. He's
young as fuck. He's in Excalibur also. So is Patrick Stewart. They're both in Excalibur.
No way, really? Oh yeah, I remember Excalibur.
They're fuck in there, dude. I also wanted to know, Preston, like who were like we talked about some people, but who were some of your main artistic influences, brother? Like as far as
that's easy. Frank Frazetta, Ken Kelly, and Simon Bisley.
Oh,
also Angel Medina. Believe it or not, Angel Medina was a huge influence.
That's crazy. You fucking narrowed it down like pretty quick and like decisively. That's
awesome. Dude. Like, I mean, I did a study on all these guys when I was coming up. Because I was fascinated. Like they did all of this shit, right? And then when digital painting came around, I started trying to digital paint. I succeeded. I learned how to do it. But then I realized, like, there's only a limit to your creativity when you digital paint. And people will argue. They'll be like, oh, no, you don't understand. They can duplicate anything with digital paint. I was like, yeah, given enough hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could just splash something on a page and they have to go through all these filters and all this shit to kind of get the same effect.
Right.
And
And then, of course, you have the original art. You have a painting, not a fucking file, not a tip.
Exactly. Like that's I think
especially in modern times with AI. approaching?
Well, I think you know what it is. I think corporations want people to be digital artists. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and it's because they can edit them more. You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And like Alex Ross said, one of the main reasons he will not do digital art is because he doesn't want them to have that much control over his art.
Yeah.
You know, like he doesn't want to go in and change this color to match this, or you know,
like, it gets kind of whack. Right. Yeah. No,
they
no,
do that shit too, boy.
Yeah,
like, and Alex, for you, that's about it. For
exactly. Well, that was the main purpose of the bullpen with Marvel, you know, so that if they didn't like something, they just white it out and have their bullpen like draw shit in, you know.
I'll draw a little bit, you know. You need to shrink something up, make something bigger.
Yeah,
and that's it's real.
But somehow they convinced all these comic artists. I mean, if comic artists decided they're not doing digital art, you know, I mean, there's nothing they could say about it. They, you know, I mean. Alex Ross has more pull than the normal comic artists.
Yeah. He's like he's the Norman Rockwell of our generation.
Exactly. But, you know, I don't, like one of the reasons I stopped doing digital art, two reasons. One, I got ADD. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I realized like, you can't be, like in my case, actually, I can't be quick doing digital art.
Keep scrolling in, huh? Like zooming in?
Yeah, but then I would listen to a lot of these painters, you know, like these digital painters, and they would do these amazing pieces, you know, and then they're asking how much time did it take, you know, like 60 hours. You know, I'm like, fuck that, dude. You know what I'm saying? How do you make money off of that, you know? And then I'm like anybody can steal your shit, and then you can't even sell the original to make more money off of it. I was like, no client's going to pay you 60 hours to do like a cover. You know? I mean,
this is a case where I wish America was more like France. In France, even when you buy a work of art from the artist, it's still always considered as belonging to the artist. Do you know what I'm saying? So in the sense that you could never get away with doing something like that, with fucking with original art.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like, I don't think like a lot of comic artists are struggling. I think it's because, well, one, the page rates suck. Saying. And another thing is that there's no residual income. You know what I'm saying? They're not getting like they're not getting fucking checks from these books or anything like after the book's published, and no royalties, and they're not selling the original art for these books. You know, I mean, the original art market is horrible. Because there's no X-Men pages out there or anything like that, you know, like modern X-Men pages.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know, dude.
Shit.
As far as like your style, man, and as pertaining to setting up page layouts and whatnot, what's some of your process, man? Like say you write a script, or if you get a script from Brian, what's your process? You know, like how do you go about doing that? Maybe you could walk us through that a little bit, from taking the script to pencil?
Well, the first thing I do is I put it in a dictation program to go ahead and read it back to me, because like I said, I got severe ADD, and I got dyslexia, so it's hard for me to absorb that information by reading it.
Right.
And that's why I also do audiobooks. I used to love reading novels, but it takes me fucking forever to get through one.
Yeah. I won't read a novel anymore unless someone
can't, dude. Like it's
for 5 years.
Books get a bad rap.
Dude, a novella would take me a week. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, but I enjoyed it. You know?
Yeah.
I'm a slow reader too, but I can't imagine what it would be like with dyslexia.
Well, I'd have to read the paragraph over and over again to get the information, you know, but the whole time in my head, I'm constructing the whole scene. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. So you feed the script into the computer or into a machine, and it just reads it to you.
Well, I got a program called text to voice, any text to voice, right? And it's a free program. And
that's dope.
Yeah, what I do is when you send me a script, like I'll copy a page or two or three or something like that. However many pages I'm going to be working on for the, you know, and I'll put it into the text to voice, and you can select the voice to go ahead and read it back to you or whatever, and then you go ahead and
cool.
and then you select the text you want to be read back to you, and it reads it, you know. And you can't. The only drawback is I can't put it on loop. So I just have to reselect it, and while I'm drawing something, it'll be absorbed. Like I'll be listening to it. You know what I'm
Kind of
saying?
loop it a little bit in that one little spot you need, huh?
Yeah, and like I'm not necessarily working on Six Gun Gorilla while I'm listening to it. I'll be working on Testament or Non Devils, and I'll be absorbing it. That way, I'm making the most out of my time.
Okay.
And then once I think I got it, I'll try to read it and then go ahead and play it through text again while I'm doing the layouts for those pages.
Okay. Okay.
One thing I can tell you when it comes to covers, I rarely take into consideration where the logo is going to fall.
Yeah.
Like I really don't care what the logo.
The Zeppelin is the most important part, and that's going to be covered by the title.
Well, it's like the logo. I don't know, man. Like it kind of doesn't really fucking matter anymore in a way. Like you could have
really,
it like small, like you could have it right there with a right. Like okay, it looks like a barrel, and then between there's a void, and then there's a Zeppelin. You could have,
or you can make it semi-transparent.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? To where you can kind of see the Zeppelin behind it. But it's like when I don't care.
So happy
like
when I saw this, man. I can't tell you. Like when I get paid pages from Preston, it's like I expect good, but it's just like holy shit! It's just like he just keeps leveling up. It's insane.
Well, even with the Wesley Snipes covers, you know what I'm saying? If you notice, like his logos are all over the place, dude. Just sometimes they're at the bottom, sometimes they're at the top. Like it does not matter because I don't really care like where the logo falls. I just want it to look good. You know what I'm saying? And like with that old Turner, fucking it came out on a Wednesday. You know that cover I did for him?
Yeah.
Like Peter. I mean, I'm grateful Peter like tried to make the giant bat spider thing come out, right? But the whole reason I actually put that on there is because whenever I'm doing a cover or a painting or something like that, to leave a big blank spot is going to be horrible for resale. You know what I'm saying? So I'll fill it up, and I'm not necessarily like planning on having that piece, like that part of the artwork actually come out, like because when he puts the logo.
Totally be like a splash page from the comic.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and it's like, so I just, I mean, and it gives the publisher the option to go ahead and leave the logo out and do a raw cover too. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So it's, and so I mean, I don't really care about it. I just want the look. I want to be dynamic and like in your face type of thing and brutal. I want the cover.
Gnarly is the
I want you to look at it and be like, whoa, and like you can see right there where the dude's shield is bisecting somebody's head. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, like that's the word that comes to mind the most when I look at your stuff is gnarly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the only thing I don't like about Six Gun is that it's not as brutal of a book as I'm used to working on.
Yeah.
But in a way, that's kind of good because if you notice with Doc Alpha, like it took me a while to feel comfortable with the character, right? And it was exactly 20 to 25 pages before I started getting into the groove of it and figuring out how to do this character. And it was exactly one issue of Six Gun Gorilla before I felt comfortable enough to actually play with the character more, Yeah. And so it's about that, but as far as covers and painting covers, like that's another thing too. Like I'm fucking, I don't know. I guess I'm overly like critical whenever I paint a cover, like I know where I'm going, but it's after it's finished, is it good enough to pass? You know what I'm saying? Like,
fuck yeah, man. I mean, people love your art out there, man. And more people I know I'm always like, oh, what's Preston gonna bring? Like, what's he got coming up next? What's he's cooking up? You know what I mean? Like, what's he painting up too? You know what I mean? What's he penciling up? Like I always want to see like what's coming next from you. You know what I mean? And as far as you putting like logos on there too, I'm like, damn, like for me, like I would buy the Virgin just because I think I wouldn't fuck the title. You know what I mean? I know logos are their own art form and stuff, but I mean, you could. I mean, and then the logo for me, I would again. I would put it in the same exact spot. I'd put it going sideways, like up in the corner somehow or something.
Well, no, like right there. I don't think it's a big deal if you have the logo like covering the flag a little bit, because it's a flag. You know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe, like kind of.
Like I think you could fit the logo in there, and like a lot of the times, like I know, like your boy Zach is like, don't cover your logo. Why are you covering your logo? But then I'm like, I've always found it cool whenever you have something like overlapping the logo. You see what I'm saying? Like you see the drone right there?
Yeah.
It'd be totally cool if you had the logo like on there and it's covering up the flag a little bit, and then you got the drone like overlapping it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and your boy does the little side logos too. I have a Jawbreakers that Ethan drew. Ethan Van Cyber. It's got a little slit which just says Jawbreakers up in the cut, and it's fine. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, because it also integrates, it pulls the logo into the art. You know what I'm saying? It's not like
more of immersion. It becomes part of the piece, and it's also when you're setting up the piece, it's hindering the piece because you're planning for said logo, and so there's that big quarter of the fucking page that's fucking your art up. It's fucking your whole,
that's the one thing I hated about doing sketch covers, because whenever you do sketch covers, like, you're not doing the whole cover, you're doing half the cover, because the logos are so big now, dude. Big. Like it's crazy. I'm like, I'm like, God damn, I don't remember logos being that fucking big. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Like, fuck that. And it's like nowadays you don't even need it's good to have a logo. It's good to have a logo.
Yeah.
But it's like,
you need a logo, absolutely. Yeah. You need a title, logo, all that shit. But I just don't think like
line. They know what it is. You know what I mean? Like they're not walking through the comic store looking for that big motherfucker logo. Like, there it is. I can see it from across the fucking store. It's not, you know what I mean? They don't have to.
It's not going on a spinner rack.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you don't need the title to jump out at you. The Mighty Thor.
Like I think Six Gun has a great logo because it's not huge. It's this Six Gun gorilla. And Butch Cleaver, another one. Great logo, you know what I'm saying? And
mine's huge. Mine's huge though. I ain't gonna lie. That shit's fucking
but
big.
you're not afraid to shrink it or do whatever you have to do to make it, And look, you can make a logo look good without having it like take up half the fucking page, dude. I mean,
and you know what?
But now going forward, I'm thinking about that shit, dude. Like, like I don't. Like when I do pieces now, I'm like, dude, fuck the logo. You know what I mean? Like, for real.
Like seriously, there's a lot of freedom that comes with doing like alternate covers too, because you don't have to bend to let that be the main cover guy's job. You know what I'm saying? To consider where the logo falls. Because right there, like like if that was a Captain America cover, there's no way that whole piece would fit on a Captain America cover. You know what I'm saying? Because Captain America's logo is fucking huge, dude. Like that thing's amazing. And then you got the company, what is it called? The fucking logo box that they have, with like the Marvel Comics box and all that shit.
On the left corner. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you look at a full cover dress, I mean, it leaves very little room for, I mean, you have to believe like the guys that were doing covers back in the day, like they were real masters to be able to work within those parameters.
Yeah. It's so small. It's tiny, dude. It's really limiting, like, I don't know. I just don't really I feel like we're in an age now where you don't really have to have it too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know who didn't give a shit about logos back in the day? Like indie comic creators. They didn't give a shit about logos.
Yeah, that's totally true. That's totally true. Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I mean, that's why, like, I'm not like big on variants, because when I publish variants of my books, I always feel like it's double dipping. I know it's not, right? People don't have to fucking buy it. It's just another cover. But it just always makes, I don't want like 20 variants or something like that.
I think if you're going to do a variant cover, give them a whole different book too. Like do a black and white version of your book or something like that.
Right. Yeah, we'll do something like that. Like an artist's edition with like a virgin cover maybe. So we'll figure it out. Because with the cover that you did for number 8, I was publishing a bunch with the logo, but also had to print up a bunch that were virgin cover. And then I felt okay. I was like, okay, I didn't fuck his shit up.
Variants, you gotta give me. It depends on the day of the week. You gotta get me. Some days I'm all for them, and some days I'm like, fuck variants. I really am. I'm kind of bipolar with variants because it's just like fuck, like it's hard. But at the end of the day, like on either, no more than 3, no more than 3. That's how that's 3 is my lucky number
That's a
for
good
most things,
cutoff.
you know.
That's a good cutoff limit.
I don't know.
I'll go ahead and share a couple of the. You want to see the process? I'll show you the process.
Yeah,
I showed it on the metal shop a little bit. It's
Fellas, I'm sorry, I gotta bow out.
Oh, you puss.
Preston, thank you so much for all the kind shit that you said.
It's not kind, it's true. Like, there's
it's
a difference.
Right back at you. And Matt, always a pleasure. Y'all are my brothers.
Oh, for sure, brother.
I'll see you later, okay?
All right,
guys,
see you later, brother.
Easy. Yeah, so this is I think we showed a bunch of the stuff. Like this is where it comes from. A lot of the stuff, right? Like the roughs that I show you guys. Like it's basically me with a Sharpie and a 4H pencil.
Shit.
Mechanical pencil.
Oh, fuck
and see, these are page layouts right here, and this right here is the cover to one of the Exile books.
Yeah, that one's badass.
Which one was it? It was this one.
This one, right? Yeah. There we go.
So it goes from this to that. You see what I'm saying? Like this is for approval, because
that is right.
If you're doing original art, you have to get an approval from the guy you're doing it, and then again, like I send him that, and then I'll go ahead and send him the pencils, because if I'm going to paint it, like he has to be sure, like everything's where he wants it, and then from there it goes to this, and at this point there's really no change in anything. You know what I'm saying? Like and as far as the color palette, it's whatever I'll pick. You don't really get a chance to change any of that. Like the only thing that you can get me on is the color of the characters. But the color of the characters are going to depend on what kind of reference material you give me. You see what I'm saying? So if you give me the wrong reference material, well then that's on you guys. Yeah.
With the pencils, do you save those and then scan those in and then put
them
on photo blue? That way you could paint onto the photo blue Bristol or whatnot.
Yeah, I scan them and put them in print them out on a piece of comic board. But if I do the pencils at 11x17, I scan them and print them out on a piece of 12x18 to give me that extra room. Because what I do is, if you notice, you see where his gun is right here, in the edge, like where everything's ending at, and then you look at the painted version. Like I give it about another quarter of an inch to go ahead and that way you have a little bit of leadway when you're putting the cover together. Oh, okay. Like you can crop it a little bit, trim it, or and you have different places where you can add the logo, that darn logo. And then we got more sketches. Those are terrible sketches.
Oh, these are fucking beautiful, man.
This is the page layout right here to that page from Doc Alpha.
I have artists on here, and like sometimes I don't get to check their processes, but that's like one of my main things on the show is I always love to talk process.
Dude,
you're one of my favorite artists, so I'm gonna definitely fucking pick your brain. And I know that viewers watch the show, they fucking like, hey, dude, make sure you're prodding people for their processes.
No, the process is the most important part, actually. Because if I wouldn't have seen Bisley like painting shit up, I would have been like, I wouldn't have known what the fuck he was doing.
Some dudes you can't find, like some artists I like some of my influences too. Like there's nothing out there of them like live, like doing live drawing or just anything. Like I look for some artists, like damn, like how does this fool do this shit? I still don't know how he does it. And he'll do live drawings, but he still doesn't show us the specific way he renders like a fucking muscle.
That's because that's boring. Nobody's going to tune in for hours of you rendering a muscle. That's why. Yeah. That's why they want to be there for the important shit when shit starts coming together. But here's another thing too. Like I never did one sketch for that. It was a bunch of like two. I think I gave him 2 sketches. This one and this one. You see what I'm saying? And Adam decided to go with this one right here, and that's the one that got developed into the final
looks pretty
piece.
good.
And this is the.
How long do those pencils take? Do you think, like, to do something like that? How long do you think that would take?
Pencils take a little bit, like it takes a few hours to get tight pencils. But I always, in the back of my mind, it's like, I know it's not a waste of time because one thing, I'm getting paid enough to paint it, and two, it's I know I'm going to be able to sell the pencils eventually, especially on a high end job like this. You know.
Yeah.
Now I don't always do that. Like with the Testament pages, I know like the Testament pages, their final version of those pages are going to be painted, and for me to render every page, it's just going to eat up way too much time.
And it's not a cover. It's not a cover either, right?
Exactly. It's interior pages. Here's another thing too. You see if I can find it.
I like that. That's some of that Doc Alpha, huh? Dude, I gotta scoop that book up, man. You got so many projects out right now, Preston. You got Doc Alpha out. You got Testaments coming out too, part 3. You're doing all the interiors on Testament 3?
Yeah, that's.
Oh fuck!
I decided to paint that one.
Oh man!
But the deal is with that is that I almost regret saying I want to paint it. But I signed up for it, so once I agree, that's it, dude. I can't go back on it. The here's another one right here. This is the rough for the
Exiled, right?
Yeah, the Exiled cover, and this is the final version of that cover. You know?
I like that.
So you can kind of see, like, I don't always follow the sketch. Like, I'll go ahead and go off of it when it's
switch the arm around a little bit.
Yeah, dude, like, it's all about having fun. That was a sketch commission. This is my favorite cover, actually.
That's pretty dope, dude.
Yeah,
I like that one a lot too. And then there's another one where he's like in the sewer, kind of, and there's a lot of crazy lighting, kind of like Jalo'd up a little bit.
Oh yeah. I remember that. I'll bring that one up in a minute.
But this is a lot of them, dude.
This is the Exiled sketch, the rough sketch for that cover, and I decided just to like just rough in those tentacles.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make them like insect type, and so when I finally did the actual rendering for the cover, I did it all in pencil, like the final pencils, going off of this. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't, and I decided that I wasn't going to go ahead and make it look exactly like Wesley Snipes, like I did with the other ones. Yeah. And just kind of wing it.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
This one was a blast today, dude.
That's Snipes for sure, dog. Like it looks just like, I like that, man.
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass to make it look like that too. I had to do a head sketch this big.
Oh, really?
Put it
on
there.
That's him.
Yeah, it was crazy, dude. It's the biggest pain in the ass doing that shit. That was a family portrait.
I've seen that. The painting, that shit's awesome, dude.
Yeah. And that family portraits are kind of a pain in the ass too, but I charge enough money to go ahead.
Dude, your likenesses are so good, man. I seen one on I think it was maybe one of your Instagrams or something. It was for something looked like it was for a festival or something like that. But I was just like, damn, dude, you just really.
Yeah. That was the Bo Duke festival.
Dude. I was like, oh my god, dude, he could
actually
really nail down people's likenesses really good.
Funny story about that Bo Duke festival. The first version was I did him the way he looks now, right? Mm-hmm. And his wife contacted me and she said, "No, I don't want him to look like that. Can you make him look like he did in his 30s?" But that's not really accurate. Well, we're paying you to do it, so can you? And I was like, "Yeah, I got it." This was one of my favorites too, because when Micah, 3 nights, 4 days. Yeah. Because when Micah contacted me to do it, I was like, "Dude, we're gonna." I
like that IP, bro. I like that shit.
Yeah. I like it too.
This was the fuck out of that.
This was the final pencil. I really want Death to look like kind of anime-esque, kind of something off a Ninja Scroll or something like that.
Yeah.
The only thing I hated was that Minion's head right here, the one with the satanic star on it.
Yeah.
It just looked like him looking right at you like that. It just looked too flat, So I changed it up. What I did was I just changed the head and just pasted it on there. And here's the version of the head that I used right here. and just drew that on a separate piece of paper and just superimposed it onto the sketch. And
Nice.
rather than redrawing the whole goddamn thing.
Yeah, nah, you got to do that sometimes.
Yeah. And then that's not the finished piece. That was midway through the process of painting it. And final piece is somewhere in here. Oh God, I don't know. Anyway, it's somewhere. I was a Star Wars artist for a little while there too. I used to do cards for them. And
That's cool.
Yeah. It was a blast, but it was a lot of work. This was the like I decided, because I knew that he was a little bit picky on his character, and all that kind of shit. So I did a small painting of that, and it was about this big. I still got it. I don't think I threw it away yet. And then I went ahead and I sent it to him. I said, "So are we going this way?" And he goes, "Oh my God, is that finished?" I said, "Do you think it's finished?" Because I was like, "Yeah, sure, it's finished." And he was like, "No, I don't." I was like, "All right." So this was the final piece when it was completely finished. Just doing it full size, like 12 by 18.
Yeah.
And this one, like, that was a pain in the ass too. Only because I didn't follow the process I was supposed to use for the characters in the foreground. And this was a shout out to Frank Frazetta. And yeah, but it turned out pretty good. I liked it, but I liked the chick in the background the most. Like I want to make the alien chick look really sexy, so people will feel bad about themselves for liking it.
Right. No.
This was a blast, dude, but that book was a little too, metaphysical for me. It was cool. But I really liked doing that one. That one was a blast.
That's cool, man.
I was going to offer that up as a auction piece, but the auction wasn't going so well. Let's see here. We'll go over a couple of these, I guess. This is the finished piece of that Exiled cover. And
that's fucking badass, man.
Yeah.
The insectoid limbs.
This was a blast to do, dude. Like, I really enjoyed it. And my favorite part was all of this. None of this was supposed to be up here. This was all supposed to be like his weapons, like coming down on him and being attached to him. But Adam thought it'd be much better if we had pieces of people. So it's not always me. Like, I'm not always the one that said, "Hey, let's put pieces of dead people in the background of it."
Sometimes you gotta do what the client wants.
Yeah, and it's sometimes really cool when they tell me to put dead people in the back.
Like, that's pretty cool.
And that's another thing too. Like, when it comes to wounds and stuff like that, like I actually have a morgue file for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, where people have severed limb, because you have to. It kind of makes me a little queasy to look at it. Like people with actual like dissected fingers and shit.
Yeah.
But you have to see how the skin folds in on itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or how meat looks when it's on a human body and it's cut.
Yeah.
Or
twisted, and turned, and ripped and cut.
Especially for Doc Alpha.
Stitched back up.
Dude, Doc Alpha was brutal, dude. It was the most brutal book I've ever worked on. Besides the brutality I was trying to force into 3 Nights, 4 Days.
Really?
3 Nights, 4 Days was pretty brutal. This version, not the other one. Like, this is one where death is coming in, and he attacks the Pain Knight. And but
man, so
Six
beautiful.
Gun, I think the end of like Doc Alpha was where I kind of like fell into a cool style for like books, where it led to this version of Six Gun Gorilla. And
what you're saying.
Let me see if I can bring that up. Jump pages. Here we go. So if you notice, like in the beginning,
it's fucking awesome, dude. And you're doing your own stuff.
It's a blast, dude. Like, I'm just really grateful to be able to do all this stuff.
Yeah, I gotta get this book.
I'm saying, like,
I gotta get this book.
Yeah, it's like really fun to do, And I want to play with this book to see where I could go with it, and different things. And every time Lip was like, hey, we're gonna have a scene where, you know, Doc's in a fight, and then I would be like, okay, but he's in a fight and he stabs somebody in the head with a hammer. And he goes, okay, I'm good with that. You know,
All
like
the gags,
sweet.
right, of the fight.
Now, yeah, exactly. And another thing too, like he was like, he wanted Doc Alpha to be naked throughout the whole
Yeah.
book, and I was like, look, like, I think this book is pretty solid, but no guy wants to buy a book with a naked man in it all the way through the book. You know what I'm saying?
The
I
dog
was like,
slapping all over.
exactly. I was like, and
Hey
what are you
man,
gonna
you
do?
give me a Woody over here.
Exactly. I was like, what are we gonna put black? And it
Well,
became
that's the
harder and
mask.
harder for me to mask off shit, right? Because every time it came to his crotch, I'd have to shade it, you know, and it, even if it didn't fall within light parameters of what I was doing there, you know, so it became like, it started to become a disaster, you know, and so it, like right here, school where he's blasting off half this dude's face, you know, and, but yeah, dude, I'm not lying. Like, this book is the most violent book I think I've ever worked on. Like, here, check out the scene right here. Okay, so we got this.
You didn't do a cover variant for this, did you?
I did. I'll show you the cover.
So
It's,
there's a variant cover for this, or
not for this one because Lit doesn't do variants. But I told him on part two,
dude.
I was like, if we're gonna do a part two, then I have to do the variant. You know what I'm
dude,
saying?
you should have a variant up right now, man.
Well, not the variant. I mean the main cover. Because I was
Yeah,
like,
man.
you can't have the artist of the book like not do a cover. That's weird.
Especially of your fucking caliber, bro. It's like sleeping on it, you know. Like I'm like, so I was looking through the campaign. I was like, damn, dude, where the fuck's his variant cover at? Because I saw fucking Figaro's up there. I was like, yeah, that's dope.
No, he had Figaro do the main cover, and I was like, you know, that's cool. But I was like, something's weird about that. I'm not cool with it, you know. And he kind of agreed with me a little bit. And we so then, you know, it went into, I'm going backwards here, you know. So we decided, well, I kind of convinced them to let me do the cover for the but this is not in order. What the fuck's going on here? Anyway, okay, so here it starts, and like they start fighting, right? And one thing, like when I read the book, I was like, well, I hope Lit's cool with this because I'm gonna have Doc Alpha like fucking just be deconstructed through this book, right? Like he's gonna be hairless, burned, black eye, like right here, dude. You know?
I love the pencil shavings up there.
Yeah, like here he's getting punched in the face, his nose is getting broken, the knife in his back gets pushed all the way through his fucking shoulder, gets slammed into the table, and she gets a phone call. Yeah. Then the next page, like I wanted to show like how busted up his face was, right? He's just fucking pouring blood, and his nose is just all deconformed, you know, and swollen. He looks like Rocky, right?
Yeah.
After Rocky,
Hey,
at
Rock,
the end,
get in there, Rock.
after I think it was
more.
Rocky 2, where his eyes were just swollen shut, and they had to use razor blades to cut his eyes open.
Get in there, Rock. You got some more.
Exactly, dude. And so right here, he throws the knife and stabs it through the chest, and then he comes over there. And this is a shout out to that X-Men, the Hulk cover,
I'm about to
where
say,
Wolverine has the
claws. Yeah. Yeah. The McFarlane one, I think.
Yeah, and he only has one good eye, you know, and he comes over there, and then he goes to work on her, right? He's fucking punches the knife through her chest, stabs her in the side, and then finally through the eyeball, you know? And she's this crop there. Dude, it gets even worse. Like the more it goes on, the worse the shit gets, dude. And then, you know,
you got to have a cover for this book. Not for, I wish he's got to have a cover. You got to have a cover. I'm sorry, dude. It's just.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and like the cops, like I want the cops to kind of have like Bisley type cars. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like I wanted to make it look like the most extreme version of a SWAT team. Yeah, like almost 2000 AD.
Yeah, totally 2000 AD up, dude.
Yeah, dude. And then look, like Cloner's men. He's throwing like the shit to this dude's face. You know?
Oh man.
He gets nuttier and nuttier. Like, and at first, Lit wanted like Alpha to lose the knife off panel, right? And I was like, well, that's not cool, dude. We gotta have him like pop that bitch out with like a frying pan, slams it into his chest, and it comes popping out of his back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, continuity's key, man.
Exactly, and just keep it like and just keep the brutality going,
Yeah.
like as much as we can, right? So when he finally uses his gun that he's got, and it fires and it obliterates the police, half of the fucking pillar in the hotel, and then outside it blows the cop cars away. It just leaves this mess of melted people.
Yeah,
cars.
Dude. Just
melted. It gets sicker and sicker, and then I don't know how much I should.
How many pages is this book?
80 something, I think.
Fuck, you got down, dude.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a big deal, It's like you get the key to doing multiple books is cycling. You know what I'm saying? So you cycle through pages and books as you go. So you keep going and you cycle every 5 pages. So I do 5 pages for Lit, 5 pages for Brian, 5 pages for the next guy.
I call that going back to the well of inspiration.
Yeah. And then
that way you don't burn out. That way you don't burn out and you don't burn out.
I know you'll burn out. You definitely burn out.
You'll burn, even going through all those. Well, I mean, yeah, you'll burn out. But I mean, for the inspiration, like you feel fresh when you're bouncing around at 5 pages from Lit, 5 pages.
Well, that and also
Brian.
Every now and then I'll get a cover. You know what I'm saying? So I'll have to paint a cover, and that takes me away from everything for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And then you come back to it, and then you're coming back fresh. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost impossible to get burnout.
Yeah. I call that the well of inspiration.
Yeah, dude.
I just started doing that because I know you do it. Now I know you do it hard, and so does Sim.
Yeah. Sim, does Sim do it? I never knew Sim did it.
And now I'm doing more things, and I'm feeling great. I've got 3 commissions I'm working on and doing my shit. It's fucking the way to do it.
I don't know how people do that. Well, then again, I'm not caliber of writer than a lot of these other guys. Well, I know like Madman, like Mike Allred's Madman wasn't just written by Mike Allred. Mike Allred was basically the plotter, and his wife helped with the writing. Yep. So I guess when you're working with a team, like it's easy to come back to something like Madman and be fresh, or Nexus or Spawn. Well, Todd McFarlane hasn't drawn Spawn in like 3 decades.
Yeah.
This is the cover to Doc Alpha 2. Like the second part of the one that I'm working on now. Well, worked on. The one that I worked on. So, because like at the end of the part that I just finished, like part 1, Doc Alpha's like beat the fuck up. He's on drugs, like painkillers, all kinds of shit like that, dude. He's held together with like duct tape.
Oh, hell yeah.
And in this one, he actually dies.
Oh, damn.
And that's why he's over there. He's lighting a cigarette, and he's just a skull, and his shadow is death. Yeah. And I always liked that. I seen a pic Simon Bisley did one time where the dude was blowing smoke. I think it was Lobo blowing smoke out of his face, and the smoke was turned to skulls, right? And that's why I was like, yeah, let's do that. If we're gonna have skulls in this bitch, let's put skulls everywhere. And one thing I'm learning right now, and I don't know if you noticed this, like, because I've been finding things have been coming out a little muddy, is utilizing negative space in people.
Oh yeah.
You see, like on the shoulder right here, where you got this big white spot, and then you follow that down all the way to the forearm, where it's just no detail at all.
Right, the negative spaces. Fucking
exactly, dude. You need that
framing and bringing the eye into certain focal points in the piece that you want. Like right there, that big ass fucking bullet hole in the mirror. Then you have death. Then you have the fucking skulls. You know what I mean? All of that is all.
That's what I'm saying. Like
broken up into four different like little story aspects in one cover. And that's one thing too about like covers, man. They're not like sequential art, but you can tell a story in a cover.
Well, you have to. You have to tell. You have to tell the total story. At least hint to it.
Things. You have 4 panels right there. You have a gunshot. You have death looking at him. You have him smoking, and you have a smoking skulls. I mean, I
think that's what people don't understand. Like when you do a cover, you can't just put your eye on it. I'm saying, like, and that's like when you do a cover, like you have to know something about the story. Like people say, all right, I want you to do a cover of my book. Okay, what's your book about? I'm saying,
it's like a dude just standing there and there's nothing,
like that's
like a lot. Most people. Okay, what I'm saying is most people, like, they don't tell stories with their cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, you told a story with that cover. You told a scene. That's a fucking that's a page. That's one page right there in a book where you could broke that up into like 4, 5 panels, dude. You know?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, like the cover, I think the cover is the most important part, right? Because
it is.
It has to tell you like when you look at a cover and you see Superman like with a hole in his chest, you're like, how the fuck did Superman get a hole in his chest? You know what I'm saying?
It's it's gonna what's gonna sell the book. You know what I mean?
It has to be a super teaser. You know what I'm saying? Like
super teaser. It's the first impression, and the first impression is the most important. You know.
This is important right here because you kind of have to see this. Like you see this panel right here, like this whole page, right?
Yeah.
Or like that page, either one of these pages. Like you see how Doc Alpha looks in here, where he's no hair, his hair's burned off, scarred up. He's held together with fucking tape and damaged bandages. Compare that with the very first page I did, second page. Let's do second page. And you see how pretty he was. Yeah. But I want you to notice something else. Like the shadows weren't very good in here either because I wasn't real comfortable with the character. You could say I was actually struggling with it, you know, where right here, it's like it's flowing. You know what I'm saying? Like everything's like it's just oozing onto the page, you know? And Doc Alpha himself is like being more consistent. And wait, let me pull that up.
It's fucking badass.
And I think that's the key. Like, and maybe I probably would have benefited if I was like, you know, if I would have did a study of the character before I actually started drawing the book. But then again, like to get to know the character, you have to be involved in the story.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
To go on
like
the journey with him. Like,
exactly.
Unfortunately, you have to go on that journey. I think you know,
and that's something a study can't give you.
No,
you know, like so. Yeah, and then like another thing I started doing too. Like, you ever watch a movie and you notice the shadows in the movie actually define the whole movie? You know what I'm saying? Like, especially with horror. Yeah. Like I started
choreographed.
what I started doing is like watching a movie and using that movie as a baseline of how to set the mood for a comic I'm working on. You know what I'm saying? Like how the shadows fall in certain scenes to kind of bring that into the book and make sure like the shadows fall on those characters. It's weird. I know it's really weird, but but it sets the mood. And I think that's where the quality comes in, you know, because you're thinking that far ahead.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. And some movies, I don't know, man, like the shadows just really help tell the story, like move it in different directions, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, this book's, I think I'm as proud of this book as I am of 3 Nights, 4 Days, like that first 3 Nights, 4 Days. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's got about the same amount of pages. And I can't wait to do the second one, actually. You know, but my deal right now is I really want to get non-devils out there.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yeah.
And with the with these pages, I think it's gonna it should go over well.
I think so, man. It got it. Like there was a lot of people really responsive to your Nine Devils work.
Dude, I couldn't believe it.
I don't know if you noticed on Twitter. I don't know how it is compared to like, because I love your work, man. Again,
the analytics went crazy on that, dude.
But people were it just kind of, from my end, it looked like it just kind of blew up. Like
it did, and I'm like, it's crazy.
You know? So I don't know if that's any indication of like maybe like.
Well, I noticed like a lot of people, like especially Vaughn and a lot of people like that, like the people with the most successful campaigns do slow leaks, you know, and they leak out pages and panels and stuff. And they're like, hey, and they tell a little story, you know, hey, I bet you this guy's having a bad day, you know, or whatever. Yeah. And I think that's what I'm gonna try to do with Devils, because when Devils hit 75% completion, that's when the campaign's going to launch, and I'm hoping I have like so many people like foaming at the mouth to get a hold of it that they're just instantly going to back it. And another, like I was saying, because I'm quick, doing commissions for the first 100 people I do this, like back it, isn't going to be an issue. Not, like I said, not big commissions, maybe 3x5.
Yeah, or maybe postcard, a sketch card or something, or postcard. Yeah.
but it'll definitely be worth your while to go ahead and back it. Be one of those first 100.
That's dope, dude.
Yeah, we'll wait till I do that thing for you for the Hell War.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, and let me give you a peek at my morgue file because I got a folder that's just labeled reference, right?
Yeah.
I can't go into the bodies of people here because I have a lot of nudes. You know,
I started making. I remember we were talking about a morgue file before. I got it on my phone now.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck it, I'll put it on my phone. It's like I'll bring it over to my little drawing board.
Yeah, dude. Like, and here's something right here. Like I took a lot of reference from that old movie, Fritz Lang's Metropolis. Right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And buildings in there because that's actually artwork they used as buildings in that movie, right? I mean, they never built sets. I mean, some of them they did build sets, but a lot of them, like they never built sets. They just used backdrops.
Right.
See what I'm saying? And like shit like this, where it's this big perspective shot.
Little Art Deco too in there a little bit.
And look, and this is what's fascinating to me is like people in the 50s and 40s and 30s and shit like that, even the 20s, like their vision of what the future was going to be like.
Yeah.
Like,
that's so good.
It wasn't accurate, but it was good, right? Because it was kind of an innocent view of what the future would actually look like,
Yeah.
It wasn't like Terminator.
Nice and clean and like almost sexy, like Art Deco, clean.
Yeah,
stuff.
dude, it was
nice imaging.
It had like a diesel punk feel to it, like kind of, but it was streamlined, Yeah. And that's one reason why I'm attracted to old cars, because it was their version. It was what they thought the future was going to be like,
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, it was like, even those cars, even though they're not aerodynamic at all, like they just look really cool. Like, look at this shit, dude. That's fucking insane, dude. But I don't know. And you know what this reminds me of? Like, and I have to believe this, like 2000 AD, the artists on 2000 AD, they had to use the movie Metropolis as the basis for Mega City 1.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like
100%. That was like the first, that was like almost like the first futuristic city like we've had in media that I can remember, right?
Absolutely.
What came before Metropolis?
Like they're come on. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just wicked, dude. Like this retro shit, I'm telling you, dude. Like if you ain't got a morgue with all this retro shit on it, dude.
Art Deco. I love Art Deco. I really do.
Me too. Yeah.
It's just there's something sexy about it, dude. I don't know what it is. It's just nice and clean and just
Well, it's their view of things. Like my view of the future is not this. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more. I don't know, like more fucking brutal.
Yeah,
but
me too.
When you look at shit like that, you're like, holy crap, dude! Like these guys had no idea.
Hey, how you doing, Billy Power Max? Thanks for stopping by.
Oh, and let me show you my car file.
You got Preston Asevedo on here, man. He's one of the best artists out there.
Whatever. Like these are the cars that I referenced for Doc Salem in our Rockaway road trip.
Oh yeah, man.
Like these are like, because coming from a custom car background, like shit like this is where I get like Doc Salem's car from.
That's like a bug. Is that a bug?
That's a Beetle. Both of these are Beetles. And
that's dope.
Yeah, and it's not the same car. Like these are two different cars. Like and it just trips me out because these fucking dudes, dude, like they're so fun. Like this is so badass, and it reminds me of that retro, like fucking 60s version of what the future would look like, right?
Right. Yeah. Their version of what kind of exactly. Their version of what the future would look like.
And I've always liked vets. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, me too. Like that's my favorite year right there. I think that's I don't know what year it is, but
I think that's a 1972 Stingray or 1971 Stingray or something like that they modified.
My uncle had the basic one, the white one, And from my understanding, that's the one that they used for the Geiger Batmobile for Batman Forever.
Really?
They based it off of, from my understanding, yeah. I like that
this
Batmobile
one
too.
This one's heavily modified. They dropped the fucking the roof. They fucking added a fucking 2 hood scoops, a blower. You know, they flared out the back wheels, and it just blows me away.
The front of that car, bro. Like just even the standard of that Corvette, just over the wheel. You know that swoop that it does.
Look, it reminds me of a pit bull. The way it sits on the ground, like it's fucking tough.
It's just so mean looking,
yeah,
you know.
Dude, like American Muscle isn't shit anymore. Like it doesn't compete with anybody. But there was a time, dude. Like I mean, even you can't get past the look of American Muscle. You know.
Yeah.
And like this 100%. Shit right here. You know, look at that, dude. It's fucking brutal.
Yeah, it's going to war with that shit.
Exactly. And those cars are made of fucking iron.
Yeah, you can ram. Look at that nice Jeep.
Exactly, dude. This is what I'm. Oh, this is fucking sweet.
Oh, look at that tank VW Plus.
Dude. Look at this. Whoever this crazy person was has inspired the shit out of me. That's what I'm saying. When I see shit like this, if I run across it, I immediately download it. And I'm a huge Rat Rod fan too, because those dudes are fucking crazy on the shit they come up with.
Oh, damn, look at that. That's awesome.
Exactly, dude. Like, just look at that. A fucking blower smoke coming out the front. I don't know if that dude
put some guns on there. Oh, yeah, right? Just ripping all that up in his nostrils.
Shit like that, dude.
See, like that, I put a cannon right there where that thing is.
I don't think this is a real car. I think this is an AI generated car that somebody put up. But I thought it was cool. And this shit right here. That's what I'm saying, dude. This shit's crazy, dude. Like, dude, I've always loved an S&S fucking Camaro, you know?
Yeah.
And this motherfucker, the way it's dropped and it's got the fucking ground effects and all that shit, just fucking insane. Now, I knew this would hit you right where it needed to.
Damn. Yeah, I like that one, man.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Look at these fucking... That hearse,
that's sick, dude.
It's like, dude, we could do a whole show on cars.
Oh yeah, totally, man. Like, these are the type of cars that I like too. You know, like all.
Yeah, dude. And this is my inspiration for the cars in Doc Salem, right? And fucking Rockabilly Road Trips, all this stuff. Because you know, coming from being a hairbrush artist and stuff like that, and doing cars for a long while, I got to see a lot of this type of stuff. You know, this motorcycle. Yeah, dude. Look at this motorcycle.
That's dope, dude.
I went into this dude's office one time, and his desk was the front of a 57 Chevy that they cut off and made a desk out of. Dude. And I was like,
dope.
One day I want that. It never happened, but one day.
Dude, my buddy's mom made a couch motor on it for Burning Man. You know that Burning Man?
Holy shit, dude! Really?
He's like driving around a couch.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's pretty funny.
Look at this fucking beast.
Oh man.
666.
Oh, right.
On a fucking blower. Dude, I don't even want to know how fast that car goes. Like this, dude, look at that. Look at that RV. That's fucking crazy, dude.
It's like, oh, man. Oh, look at that one.
This fucking thing right here, dude, is insane. And you know what I found out? Like, for a while, they only made 6 of these, right? And it's called the Brubaker box. And this is it. Like, they only made 6 of these fucking cars, dude.
That's pretty
dope.
Then
they stopped them, and I was like,
looks like the Elon truck a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But they're thinking about bringing it back, and these are the car designs if they bring it back.
That's pretty cool.
You know, and it's called the Brubaker box. And I'm like, dude, like I've never bought a brand new car, but I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it's nice getting a brand new car, man. You know, like I don't know. I always feel like you're gonna.
Well, I've owned brand new cars, but I'm not big on them because I'm just not. You know,
what I like about them. What I like about them is like you don't have to pay for the maintenance too much. You know what I mean? Just like the oil change. You know, at least for breaking down and shit. You know,
that all depends on how long you finance it.
That's true.
But yeah, dude, like check this out. Like, you tell me when you want me to stop. Let's do that.
Well, I keep on going. But you know what? There is one. Oh, dude, is that real?
It was crazy, right? Yeah, like these crazy fuckers did like elephant helicopters or some shit like that. I'm like, what is this? Like that's in Africa or some shit like that. I don't know. It's nuts, dude. This fucking, I think that's a modified Hummer.
Yeah, slam too with a fucking.
Yeah, dude. I've seen a few people do that. Well, look at the back wheels on this fucking thing, dude.
4 back wheels.
Yeah. It's fucking insane.
It's like a Batman car almost. Like you plowing through some mutants, you know?
What a fucking hood, not a hood scoop, what is like a wing. It's got a wing on the back of it. Oh, this is awesome. And what trips me out is this shit really exists.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like,
That's
and these are just,
yeah,
dude, it's just modified off of like old cars. Like, and what trips me out too is that this was their vision of the future back in the 60s. Yeah.
So much cooler than what we have now. Like, even in the fucking Back to the Future movie, you know, like, damn, where's the fucking flying cars at? And, you know,
exactly. Like, I started to have hope for the car industry when they started to put out those muscle versions of the Mustang and the Camaro and all that shit and the Charger.
Plastic American muscle retread.
Exactly. And then they went back to the egg versions. I don't know what happened, or
just the design itself, you know. I like that.
Look at that. That is fucking
like just
sick.
like a mean sweep.
Motherfucker has to be heavy as fuck, dude.
It's like a mean shark, dude.
Looks like he's crying a little bit. Like
the teardrops.
Look at this fucking insane shit, dude. Need a ladder in there, yeah. I don't know why I put this on here. It just looked cool. And this car actually existed too, like in Britain.
Oh shit! Looks like Madonna from back in the day.
And this thing, because they thought this was the wave of the future, like a rail car.
Joe Biden's car, dude.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be his wheelchair.
Like Professor X.
Dude, that you actually, yeah. The Ford lever car. I don't know what that is, but it looks like a rail car to me. Like it's not supposed to actually be driven. And dude, that's the Flintstones mobile. You notice, you realize
modernized,
that, right?
huh?
Yeah, and the motor's inside the wheels.
Oh shit, that's fucking gangster.
Because now they can do that.
They did that with the Dark Knight's Bat Pod, dude.
Did they really?
Yeah, because it busted out the side. Remember, and like at the end.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I always wonder when
in the middle of that movie.
This is one of Edward's cars right here.
Interesting.
Yeah. Motors. I fucking love that motorcycle. Shit.
That's like on the ground.
The thing that trips me out about motorcycles, and this is why I was cool with them when I was a kid, but now I'm just like, I don't think I want one because they're so fucking dangerous. And I never realized how dangerous they were until friends of mine started like dying and getting into major wrecks.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Because they lost a tire. Had a flat, while on a road.
Just
yeah, it's like, yeah, well, you're dead, like, look at that.
That one looks like kind of like an insect or something, or a frog.
It does, like a slinky or some shit like that.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And look at this bug, dude. Somebody stretched a fucking bug out, dude.
That's crazy. Damn,
it's nuts, dude. I love this. This is awesome. This is
like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang right there.
Yeah, like Beverly Hillbillies or some shit like that. Yeah. And I don't know what they're doing with these Jeeps, but whatever they're doing, just keep it up, dude. It's so fucking sweet.
It's a roadster Jeep, huh?
Yeah. And I always love C cars. What do they call them? They call them C cabs. It was like these old trucks. And in fact, they look like they were milk delivery trucks that people started turning into hot rods.
Oh. It's a wagon trail right there.
Sweet. You should put that in fucking Butch Cleaver.
Right?
Like, seriously, dude. Like,
yeah, I could.
I don't know if you have like vehicles in Butch Cleaver, but
oh yeah, there's all kinds of shit. Like one of the characters I had was the Puritanian. He had a lot of stuff that was it wasn't. I tried to stay away from steampunk as much as possible and just kind of find real actual like stuff like this that existed and kind of tweak a couple things on it, maybe weld a couple things in different routes. But that was him. He had that, but yeah, I mean, steampunk's cool, but I kind of want to do something a little different, like realistic.
I don't want to be stuck to one type of like genre. That's why I'm kind of like jumping around a little bit with diesel, steampunk, and shit like that. I just want it to be cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like what Bisley does, where he just reaches for shit and it just works. I just want to do that with like steampunk and shit like that. Yeah. And this thing is fucking sick.
Yeah, but I'm down with that, dude, because it's definitely like a fantasy, dark fantasy, like parallel world. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, yeah, dude, you can like fucking utilize that shit big time,
Yeah.
I think this is the Monsters. Is that what that is from the Monsters? I don't.
It looks like the Monsters.
Yeah, like this is
Kinda looks
cool.
like it, yeah.
I always thought the Monsters car was the coolest thing I've ever seen before in my life because it's got what looks like outside lamps that you put on side.
Yeah, yeah,
They use it as like this gothic shit on this
right
car,
on.
dude.
It's like a gothic house on a car.
Dude, these dudes fucking killed it. You know, that's why I see Dracula driving in. It's got like this. This is before they actually smoothed it out and painted it, but it's got like a fucking weird ass fin on the back. Oh, and this fucking thing, dude.
Whoa, crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's fucking cheap. Like it's all this shit. Like when
That
I'm
one's
reaching
clean.
for something, when I'm reaching for something different, I'm just like rooting through all this stuff to find something that looks like to inspire me to go ahead and do something cool, you know?
Oh yeah,
And
100%.
if you can't find something in a file like this, dude, then you can't find it, you know?
No, yeah, definitely.
And shit like this reminds me of Road Warrior, where it's just like pieces off a farm to make this fucking, I think that's a Pinto.
Dude, I like that though. Like that would be like a major point, like in a story. You know what I mean?
Exactly, dude. Like it's like this cursed car or some shit. Like just
They have to use
absorbs
that car to
parts
get
from
somewhere
around it.
and invade like a fucking fortification somewhere out in the desert. You know?
Dude, I love that. I always love those crazy ass paint jobs. It's fucking sick.
Oh damn! Look at that.
That
Looks like a
is
transformer.
no, this is the future car the electric semis they're going to be using.
Oh wow, crazy, huh?
Probably self-driving too. So a lot of
It's
people
like
going
Bud
to be able
Light
to work.
sort of.
Fuck you, Bud Light. That's fucking sick. All it's missing is fucking guns.
Right?
Yeah, and I've always been fascinated with old trucks because one of my first trucks that I ever had when I was a kid looked something like this.
I like that
Like it
one.
was, yeah. And then that Flintstones car again. That thing just trips me out. And yeah, dude. That's so fucking hilarious.
It's like core to the cars, the engine just boom.
It looks like a cartoon character.
It does,
know?
dude.
But all
Like
this shit's
cartoon.
metal as fuck, dude.
Oh, totally, man.
Yeah, we're almost at the end, I guess. Oh,
Look,
yeah,
Boba
look at
Fett.
that.
That one
That
looks
looks
like Boba Fett.
It does, but it also looks like something out of a zombie movie.
Yeah.
Like fucking
Dead Reckoning.
Fortify that bitch. Yeah, like out of Dead. Yeah, like it looks like Dead Reckoning.
Almost
This
like a
tractor, somebody had this for sale on Facebook Marketplace,
Mm,
and I was like, that is fucking sick.
yeah.
And this, I just thought it was cool. So I fucking, you know,
Oh yeah.
Nazis out there with fucking robots.
Scary
Into the
shit,
world.
huh?
Yeah, that's, and then motorcycles. When I was doing research for Hell Night, like I was looking at, there's actually a company that builds these motorcycles right here, and I'm not sure how you ride it. Like it almost looks like you're sitting on top of a rocket.
It's crazy, huh?
Yeah, they build all these crazy ass bikes, dude. And I'm like, that actually looks kind of cool, but not intimidating cool. You know?
Yeah.
And that's their warehouse where they keep these things at, dude. But yeah, when I was like, I don't think people actually realize that. Like when I do shit, like I do a ton of research on it, you know, like fucking
Yeah.
to go and make sure that look at like it looks kind of like something that would exist, you know, especially for Hell Night. Like I wanted the bikes to look like they would exist. And
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated by shit like this, where the bike was, where you're just kind of sitting on the ground,
Yeah.
you know, and the
It's like
thing
the-
is just,
It's like the bat pod right there.
yeah, and you're like in it,
Well,
you know,
yeah.
it's just you, motor, and two wheels.
Yeah. All up
Like
in
that's the side view of this fucking beast, you
it.
know?
Like that.
And I don't know, like and you know, like when everybody was crazy about those big wheeled fucking like choppers and shit like
Yeah.
that. When everybody was up there doing that and they were spending like $100,000 on these choppers, I bought one of these. It wasn't a Harley, it was a Triumph, you know? And but it looked exactly like this because I was like, nah, dude, I want the Easy Rider bike.
Yeah, right. The thing on the back.
Yeah. And I got it, dude. I fucking got it. Never worked. And I could never get the motherfucker to run correctly. But yeah, dude. And then once that phase was over with the big tires and shit like that, I kind of wanted to use that for the Hell Night.
I'd like to get a bike for for Hell War, because his bike has six exhaust, or 3 exhaust pipes on the side, pipes on the other side, so that's 6. Then he's got like 10 more exhaust pipes on the ass of the fenders of the back of the bike. So he's got a lot of exhaust pipes.
You see, yeah, but I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna upload this to a Dropbox. I'm gonna send you all my info on bikes, and yeah, you can look there and figure it out. Like, I also like cafe racers. I think cafe racers shit, but I don't think they look very heroic. I don't think they look metal either.
They look like cool for like soldiers, like street soldiers, or street like a street gang. You know what I mean? For like something of that, for what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. But bobbers, I always had an affinity for bobbers. I thought bobbers were like the coolest bike, right?
Those are cool. Like, I could see a badass on there, like a yeah.
Yeah, and they can look as ratty as you want it to, right? And it's still a bobber. You know what I'm saying? Like, and yeah, dude, it's crazy. Like, I don't know, just the amount of shit that I got on this computer. But the deal is that if I'm looking for something, I can just reach for it, and it doesn't matter if my internet's up or not. You know, like, it'll be there.
It's there for you.
And yeah, dude. Like, I don't know how much you want to talk about, but I got tons of shit on it.
Oh, for sure, man. Well, actually, too, I wanted to show you actually have a book with that you're doing another story into with Vaughn, right?
Yeah, I don't have too many pages. In fact, Vaughn finally sent me edits on that one, and yeah, I know, right? She's right. Like, flying cars are a terrible idea.
Yeah,
I don't even know how to drive. It'd have to be self-flying cars.
Nice.
But yeah, I am. But the problem is I don't have any pages for that. I got like 2 pages for the Vaughn book, and he sent me the edits for it. So all those preliminaries I did are in the garbage at this point. Like, I can't use them. So I kind of don't have anything for that.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, dude, I don't know. I fucking, it's like when you do something, you go extreme with it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like what Rob Liefeld used to say, like, just do it as extreme as possible. But yeah, I'll tell you who's a good inspiration for guns though is Nerf.
Nerf, huh?
Oh yeah, right. Guns are fucking sick, son.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know. What do you use for your inspiration for guns and shit like that? Like, do you
me, I just it just really, for me, it just depends on the character. And then I'll look out the guns where I think that character, would have. Usually it's just something that, it all goes by character. I don't know, it sounds kind of weird, but then I would hunt it down, the type of weapon that gun that character would have. I don't really have. I'm trying to think of, like, right now I got Hellwar's brother. His name's Wreck Bolt, and he primarily uses sawed-off shotguns. So I'm probably gonna
sawed-off shotguns, dude.
I'm probably gonna do a deep dive on that, just so it's not like the same old sawed-off shotgun, Like, so whenever I do something, I try to go, okay, well, that's a sawed-off shotgun. Okay, what else can we do with that? Like, where can we take it next? What haven't we seen with that? So then that's what I'll do. But the character always informs the gun for me. For now, like, that's how I've always done it. No,
I think you're right, actually. And that's one thing I liked about Bisley's guns, is because that fucker would it was never a gun with a knife on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a gun with a 6-foot jagged blade coming out the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the gun would have, like, it'd be a machine gun, but it'd also have missiles on the side of it or something like that.
Yep. Like,
and the missile.
Oh, sorry.
No. I mean, and the missiles would say, like, good day or something.
Yeah. Totally, man. And, like, I have another character called Toxic Mask. He's pure toxic masculinity, Yeah. And he's the drummer of Hellwar's band. And so, like, I always want to do a book about him too, where he just kind of between He-Man, Rambo, and kind of like barbarian, like John Carter Mars.
Yeah.
So, but he's in a metal band, and he does something else too. two
I
other
love
things,
that story.
but I don't want
John
to spoil
Carter
too much.
story.
Yeah, but I
Shit's
liked how he
awesome.
goes to other planets, and like I wanted him to do that. But anyways, I wanted to. I started him off with like the I gave him a sword, and his sword is just a gigantic fucking Rambo sword, like the the Rambo knife.
Ooh,
Well,
yeah,
imagine if it
yeah.
just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going until it's a fucking just a big long. Imagine the Rambo blade like this long.
No, dude. I'm on the same. I'm in the same realm as you. Like, whenever I draw swords, like I try to make them like where, like if you think if it's gonna go in you, it's pulling meat out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that Rambo sword. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I had so many of those fucking things, and I'd always fuck them up because I'd throw them at trees and shit, and try, and I'd break the compass, and what sucked is those like when Rambo came out, those knives went from being like really, really expensive to like you get like really cheap ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the bolt would always come loose on the inside of it. And it would just be
and everything.
Yeah. But if you take the compass off and you take out the match, because that's what it came with, like matches, you got a wire to cut a tree down or whatever, but the wire would always break.
Right.
And then like at the center of the handle is a bolt that holds the blade on, right?
Yes.
And that fucking bolt would always come loose, dude, and you'd have a wobbly knife.
Oh man.
Yeah, I had many of those.
I also did like a similar thing where so that guy had that, and then he had he had a shotgun with the Rambo knife attached to it, and then also like a flamethrower on the top.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah.
And then he has like this big ass fucking like belt, like well, you'd have to see him. I'd have to show you. And he's got
I had an idea
camo pants. So
for one of my characters for one of my characters to have like an automatic, with a clip, like sawed-off shotgun.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I was like, dude, that'd be fucking sweet, because I love shotguns, dude. I think shotguns are the most brutal thing ever.
They're fucking brutal, dude. And like, I was just trying to think of like, fuck, like have it. I want, I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but I want to see some new shit, and I want that character to be actually. Like, I want him to use the gun too in the book. Like, how's it going to work in the book? Like, how are we going to see it? If I'm going to make something new, like, what are they going to do with it?
Yeah.
And how am I going to make this into gags? Like, for me, I'm into the cheap, stupid shit, like gags in the book, Like, I like the action, like the gags.
I think that's fun though. Like, whenever you do stupid shit like that, like I like doing stuff like that too. Like just put hints and stuff in there, like, this, like in that Vaughn book, like I put like burning chickens and horses running around.
Yeah,
it sounds sick, but when you look at it, you gotta laugh, dude. You know what I'm saying? Because they look so ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. It's just so much fun doing this stupid, especially when you own it, because nobody can tell you, like, oh, you can't do that. The only time I've ever been told like anything like that was with like The Exiled and one of the other mainstream books I did, because they were like, nah, like previews isn't going to allow that to fly,
Oh, right.
And I was like, all right, well, fuck it, I'll change it. Yeah. Like going into it, you already knew that was already a possibility,
Oh yeah.
I really like Vaughn's writing style. Like, I didn't expect anything out of him. Like when I first joined up with her, but you don't really expect anything out of anybody until they prove themselves, right?
Right.
But like Monster MD, like visually, first glance, looked good, So
totally. Yeah.
Yeah, so I backed it, because I figured I had to back a few books, So I went ahead and backed it, and like that was one of the very first books I backed. That and Shinobi Sasquatch,
Me too. Yeah.
Just Shinobi never came out. I don't even know if that book's ever going to get done, But like when I read it, like I was like, God damn, Vaughn's really good.
Yeah.
He's really good. Like, I don't even think he knows how good he is, And yeah, I don't know, dude. It was just, and then I was like, I gotta work with this dude someday. But I didn't like, he really likes doing books with that, like like that Batman, fucking, Dark Knight type of style, from the cartoon and the animated series. Yeah, Bruce Timm. And I kind of get it because it's attractive, it's simple, and it's fun, and it's easy for people to kind of sink into that and just get a groove on to read. Yeah, when I approached him about this, because Vaughn didn't think the painting that, I think he was kind of humoring me a little bit, like with the Terror in the Trenches,
Yeah.
When I was like, hey, hook me up with a book and I'll hook you up with a cover, and it was like, okay, and then the cover sold, and then the sketch sold and all this, because I was like, I don't know if it's going to sell, because I thought he was going to use it as an alternate cover, but he decided not to use it as an alternate cover. And I was like, oh, well, fuck, dude, I don't know if it's going to sell. And then it sold immediately, like pretty quickly, and I think and then he kind of realized, like, oh shit, this stuff sells, like Preston's work sells. So he contacted me to do a cover for KITARU, and I said, I'll do it, but I want to do an 8-pager that you write, and I told him a short story, and he says 8 pages, okay. I was like, yeah, that's perfect. We can do that. And so he told me, I was kicking myself because I never put a markup on that Terror in the Trenches, and made any money off of it. I was like, well, feel free to do whatever you got to do with this, dude. And I think he didn't want it, like the prices I told him. I was like, yeah, well, I want this much for the cover, this much for this. He was like, well, the economy's really bad. I don't know if you can get that much. And as soon as he posted the paint, it sold. So, yeah, dude. But I've always wanted to work with Vaughn because Vaughn's really, really good.
Yeah, he is.
And like all these people, like there's a lot of people in this crowd that we hang with, right? That people glorify,
right.
And they're like, this guy's amazing, and they give these guys like hundreds of thousands of dollars, And I've read their books, and I can tell you right now, they're not as good as Vaughn, Lit, and Brian. I guarantee you, they're not as good as Vaughn, Lit, and Brian. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
I think people have to put away the popularity crap and just explore some of these books and read them, because you're fucking missing out, dude. Even like Only Death Can Save Us, like that book.
Oh yeah, it's fucking
dude.
sad.
That thing brings me right back to like Kirby's Thor, And yeah, dude, like right back, the storytelling, the movement, the flow, everything.
Yeah,
is like right back in that era. And like I like corny shit like that every now and then, and it's awesome, dude. And like Mary's Boys,
Oh yeah, Mary Boy's fucking
dude, that shit's fucking brutal, son. It's good.
Yeah, love his art, man. Yeah, he's so good.
Roach Balls is good, but I don't think it'll appeal to everybody because it's one of those stoner books. Yeah. I like stoner books, but I don't know if everybody's into it, especially comic collectors. Comic collectors and stoner book collectors aren't really the same thing.
Yeah, they're a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, like a lot of people, I mean, you look at,
Book looks dope.
Like there's people out there that are one-hit wonders where they put out one good book and it's, and it goes over well because it's being promoted by like somebody like high up or something like that. And they get like massive amounts of credit, but it's not really, but really in truth, like they had one good book. And really, was it good or was it the people pushing it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you have other people that actually are putting out really good material, and they're putting it out on time, but people aren't giving them notice because they're not being promoted by the right person or the right people. And I think that's a flaw.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to overcome that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's a conundrum, It's got to keep pushing the books and just keep going.
Yeah.
I know there is a little bit of people that are like the economy's kind of tight, right now.
Well, that's even more of a
the woke shit too, But I think
but in our circle, we don't really have to deal with the woke shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the fans that follow us and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
We don't have to deal with that.
But I'm saying like when this shit kind of like, how do I put it? So like when the comic book stores shut down, there's nothing left for them to buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we might get some more of those. They might start finding their way over to here a little more. You know what I mean?
I get that, but what I'm saying is like Jawbreakers, right? Like I read Jawbreakers. I was like, that's a really good story. It is. It's a really good story. And like, not a knock against Zach because the artwork's good, the story's good, but compared to like Vaughn's Monster MD or like Lit's fucking deck out, it's mediocre. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's on another level. Yeah,
exactly. And that's what trips me out because what's going to happen? I guarantee you this is going to happen.
Well, it's just that Myers was at the head of of a movement and he had a big channel. You know what I mean?
He was, and he got. But what I'm saying is like now, even now after that, the hate backing and all that kind of stuff, and the angry backing stuff is gone. You know, like it doesn't really exist like it used to.
Right.
Like people aren't giving these people attention that they should be giving attention to. You know what I'm saying? And this is what's going to happen. Like every book that these writers put out, consider those sleepers. You know what I'm saying? Because when they do catch on and they get into the hands of the right people,
it's going to be like the John Carpenter's The Thing and a bunch of these other.
Exactly. You're going to have really limited print runs. You know what I'm saying? And somebody eventually is going to recognize like Doc Alpha and go, holy fuck, dude, this is really good. You know, or like Monster MD and fucking Terror in the Trenches. They're going to be like, dude, we need to animate this shit or whatever, you know? And fucking Six Gun or the stuff that we're working on with Brian, you know, like To Kill a Moonrise or, you know, I'm being serious, dude. Like fucking Non-Devils, all of this stuff. People are going to look at that and be like, why didn't I get it when I had the chance? You know, why didn't I get a piece of it when I had a chance? You know?
No, you got a point. Like kind of people kind of pieced out a little bit, and I feel like they need to kind of come back, you know, and like they pieced out like a year and a half ago or two, you know, like they need to kind of come back and see what we're doing over here, you know what I mean? Like you're missing out on some good shit, you know.
Well, a lot of those. No, go ahead.
I'll say now you know what's going on in the world, like how there's all this agenda shit, you know what I mean? So you know, come back and see what we got, and also like again, there's like trying to get those normie like people from like the comic book stores and whatnot, you know, like trying to get them over here and check out some of these books, dude. Like if they knew what was going on, I think they'd have a lot of fun over here. And
I think they would too. Like
buy more books, you know.
You know, that's one of the things too, is that that's another thing I don't understand. Because a friend of mine, you know, at one point we were good friends. We're not really anymore.
What's up,
hey, Sim, what's up, dude? And that's another one. Like Sim's fucking, you know, a lot of his books are really good too. Like he doesn't get enough attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like I have a buddy, and at one point we were really good friends, and we just, you know, lost contact or whatever. One thing that he said, and it really irritated me, but I think it reflects all, because he managed a comic shop, you know. And I think it reflects all like comic shops. Like he said, when he orders books, he skips over everything and goes straight to Marvel and DC. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
I do the opposite.
That's what I'm saying. But he also hits Image and stuff like that. And I was like, but he's like, but I know what my readers want. I was like, well, if you know what your readers want, then you would know like some of these indie titles would fall right into what they like. You know what I'm saying? But you're scared to take a chance and put a few of those books in your store. You know?
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Like my LCS, they actually order indie and they put them on the top two shelves, and then they put the fucking DC and Marvel at the bottom, dude.
Yeah, like even
they go big on Marvel and they do great, and then they bring in like Sideshow and fucking some Pops, and Pops aren't even selling that much anymore, but and they expand the manga set and they're doing good, you know.
Well, one of the things is like, and I think this is still a stigma, is that people are scared to back any indie books. Well, not back, but like put them in their stores because they're scared that it might have that CG logo, you know, tied to it or you know, and at this point, like if you haven't realized, like modern comics fucking suck. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And they do not care about your store. Or because if
Yeah.
they did, they'd put out better stuff. You know? Like, I mean, even the comic historians going under because you know what I'm saying? Like, because nobody's interested in hearing this shit anymore because it's the same old bullshit. It's like, oh, well, guess what? Guess who's gay now? You know?
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, like my personal opinion is like the industry is kind of like
we made the other guys like mad because we made, you know, fucking
they're gonna close and the DC, Marvel, and Image, they're gonna have online stores and everyone's gonna buy their shit directly to their you know from Amazon for probably for a few years.
I think it's ridiculous to be quite honest. And to be honest, like I think if you own a comic store and you don't have a section in your store, at least buy the cash register where it's all indie books.
Yeah.
You know? And you know what? Have all your Marvel and DC like out there and just get maybe 20 indie books and put it right by the cash register. How much space is that going to take up? What are you looking at? Like 2 feet by 6 feet, something like that, you know, like a spinner rack. You see what I'm saying?
Man. Yeah, totally.
And have a couple of reader copies out there, you know? And dude, you know, I mean, you really want to save your shop, right? I mean, then you better have more variety. And what right do you have to call yourself a comic shop when all you got is pops?
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I'm saying, man. And so those eventually they will find their way over here. Those LCS fans, they're gonna fucking want to look for some comics. And if they don't know about CG and crowdfunding, they're gonna know. And eventually they're gonna have to come over here, and they're gonna in a couple of years that's gonna happen, and then the economy is gonna get a little better, and then they're gonna start coming over here. And I think that CG, Iron Age, Outlaw Comics, Indie Comics, we're gonna be the ones fucking, you know, carrying the torch, man.
Well, I absolutely believe that.
They're missing out right now. It's what sucks, but I think that's what's going to happen. Personally,
I completely and totally believe that. But one thing I believe too is that you remember when all this shit was going down, and they were saying like once the brick and mortar shops go under 1,800 shops, there's no turning back. Like you know, that's going to mark the beginning of the end of brick and mortar. Well, I think there's under 1,000 shops like nationwide or something like that. Like it's some crazy low number now, you know?
Yeah.
And like, it feels like, you know what it feels like? It feels like brick and mortar shops are like the abused wife. And, you know, like Marvel and DC are the abusers. And every time they say something like, well, hey, can we have something that'll sell? They're like, shut the fuck up. Get back in the kitchen.
You're gonna sell our fucking variants, and you're gonna fucking like it.
That's exactly. You know, you better get back in that shop and get me some money.
Yeah, totally, man. And I think there'll always be comic shops, but they'll be like selling old shit and maybe crowdfunded shit and manga and toys. That's what's.
Well, I have another buddy that owns a comic shop, and he's pretty successful. But the only reason he's pretty successful is because he still buys old collections. And he sells old books, and he's got connections with people who want to buy and collect comics.
And it's like boutique right there. That's already boutiquing right there. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But he's one of the only ones, because there's like the other shop, one of the oldest shops that we have in Louisiana. Like I don't want to say their name, but
right.
They've been through a few owners, and like this shop was there when I was a fucking kid, dude. I mean, we're talking like decades old, you know what I'm saying? And like they don't want to waste money on buying books that people want to sell them. Like if somebody comes in and wants to sell a collection, they're like, well, we don't have the money to spend on that. I was like, motherfucker, do you know what kind of business you're in? You know,
exactly.
You're basically a pawn shop for like old comics. You know, that's what keeps you going. You can't rely on like just the business to keep you going.
Well,
yeah, dude, I think if mom and pop, I love brick and mortar because, you know, like you walk in there, you get to dig and hunt and look for all kinds of cool shit.
Me too, man.
But if they don't make some really fucking quick changes and smarten the fuck up.
Yeah. In the next year,
there's not going to be any brick and mortar, dude.
It's basically 1 year, you know, that's what they got about, you know, 2 tops.
And if we were smart, and this is just from my point of view, I think like not all indie books, because I don't believe all indie books are quality books. I think there has to be a certain standard. But if you put out a quality indie book, you should like say you put out, you know, like Terror in the Trenches, and it's like an 80-page book or whatever, right? Yeah. I think you should be able to break that up into smaller copies, you know, floppies, and go ahead and market that. And if we were smart, we'd start our own diamond, you know, get in touch with some of these brick and mortar shops and have them buy our books, you know, or ask them if they'd want a reader copy and if it'd be something they'd want to carry, you know. And reader copies now could be a digital file.
You know what else is big now too? Like it's gonna blow up is fucking TikToks, dude. They're buying books floppies on there like a mother.
Yeah, because I didn't know that. My wife was telling me that because she buys some stuff from TikTok shops, you know?
Yeah, dude. That's where everyone's at now, dude. Like they're leaving Instagram, they're moving over to TikTok. That shit's gonna be pretty big, dude. And like,
well, people are making millions off of that shit. Like TikTok shops, like selling soap, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter, you know.
So it's like we shouldn't overlook that either, man. Like
no,
like, I'm gonna eventually be like selling books everywhere, you know.
It's funny to me, like something that's popular like TikTok.
My goal, you know, have it ready, and I'll be fulfilling all the orders, you know.
Well, it trips me out because people will demonize like TikTok and they're like, oh, you don't want to get on TikTok, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
oh, the Chinese. I'm like, dude, anybody could find anybody in the world.
Exactly, dude. You know what? People
I could find anybody in the world. I don't know shit. My wife.
You can get a phone call, answer it, and your phone's tapped. That's it.
Well, you can Google search anybody, Google Map anybody, and find their fucking address and know where anybody's at. You know.
But it's like this is one of the most popular apps out there. One of the most popular social apps out there.
Yeah.
And you're going to demonize it. So I'll never do that. Well, dude, you're fucking missing out. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think here's the problem. I'm a workhorse, right? I'm best when you wind me up, put me in a direction, and let me go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm most productive behind a desk because somebody's got to produce the shit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We need somebody to handle social media to go ahead and market it, you know? Yeah. And that's where everybody comes together to kind of do it, you know? Mm-hmm. And dude, there's going to be people that are just made to be in the background, you know? Yeah. And there's going to be other people that are going to be made to be in the foreground. Yeah. But if we're ever going to be successful, we need a support system, or else it's just not going to happen.
I do agree.
You know?
No, I agree with that, man. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, totally, dude. I mean, if you look at how comics got nationalized, right? And comic shops sprung up, it was because one guy went around in a van and started, instead of bringing all these extra issues, you know, and ripping the covers off and all this shit and fucking using them as ballasters for ships, he started keeping them in his van and doing back issues and selling them to shops so that they could sell these books back to people, you know, that missed out on it, you know? And that's all it took was that one guy. And then, you know, that's the dude that started Diamond, you know? And of course now he's irrelevant because if you don't go with the flow of time, you become lost, you know? But yeah, dude, I mean, all it takes is, you know, just us thinking of a way to pipeline these books to different people. And it doesn't have to be comic shops. We could just like create an online store, but we got to bring people to that store.
Yeah. You got to get all eyes on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what it has to be. Like, people are doing that right now. That's where it's at, man. Because the comic book stores, they're going to be like, they're going to be like general stores, but with comic books in there. I mean, they're just going to be like, they're basically going to be what they are now, but with older books.
Well, they have to adapt, dude, or else. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be antique shops. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they're going to be basically, because Diamond's going to close, and like, that's it. And I think Marvel and DC, they're going to be all online. I think they're going to be you're just going to be subscription based, and it's going to be delivered. This is my guess, and you're just going to get your shit from FedEx and from from you know, Bezos.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, no, he's right. Actually, that's why I joined up with Inkslayer too, because I needed a support system, and Sim's been a fucking amazing dude. Like
Yeah, Sim's
he
awesome,
helps
man.
me with layouts, and I have no problem like hooking him up with shit like covers, whatever. But yeah, dude, like, and I think like if mom and pop shops want to survive, like they have to adapt, dude. They have
Yeah, they
to
do,
stop
dude.
looking at and stop being the bitch of fucking DC and Marvel and being like taking those black eyes. You know
What
what
they
I'm
need to do
saying?
is
Like,
they need to form an alliance worldwide, and they need to say, "Fuck you, we're not buying this fucking whack ass like overly and like political bullshit. We're not buying it no more.
yeah,
Keep your fucking shit. We're not selling it. Okay, you don't like it, then we're not going to buy your shit anymore. How do you fucking like that? That's what they need to do. It's real simple. And then either stop fucking putting that shit out, or we're not buying your shit no more.
see the main problem with that.
We're gonna close anyway. You know.
I think the main problem with that is that the people who are working in comic shops right now, like they're young people. You know what I'm saying? They're young people that buy into all this bullshit. You know,
Some of them
like,
are. I mean, well, the ones that I mean, I don't know. Like the ones in my neighborhood, like they're our age, you know, and they're like,
okay,
fuck.
yeah.
They're like, fuck this shit. They don't like it, dude.
Fuck yeah,
Like,
dude. Like, I totally agree.
They fucking hate the shit, you know, and they just trying to buy what they fucking know that sells. You know what I mean? Like that's the only way, dude. They have to just tell them to fuck off, and they have to do it as a united front. They need to have a convention. They need to work together. Like just the comic store owners, they need to have their own networks.
Well,
it needs to be one big fucking.
You know what would be a major step in the right direction too, is if we had our own comic historian or our own comics explained, except solely focused on the books we put out.
Yeah,
see what I'm saying? Like
fine, detailed. Yeah,
because people
totally
like if the whole thing is people want to be entertained, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you package it like Comic Story and Comic Explains, like the way they package like Marvel and DC books,
yeah,
you know, dude, you're talking about a whole different ball game at that point.
Comic Story is the guy that does a deep dive, right? Like on
they both do. They both. Yeah. Comic Story and he basically does an audiobook version of Marvel comics, right?
Per book, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Each issue. Okay, now I remember that guy. Oh.
Now, Comics Explained, he deep dives where he explains the motives, why they're doing this and why they're doing that. You see what I'm saying? Why did Reed Richards?
The closest person
we
have to that would be Kimosabe, the guy from Australia. He doesn't do every book, but if he got in there and fucking did that, that'd be pretty cool.
I think Lit would be a good choice for that too. You know, because Lit's got that voice. He sounds really intellectual.
Yeah, he'd be cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Or like Death Metal Hero would be cool for that. You know, because he's got that voice and he's intelligent. You know, he comes off really intelligent.
Yeah.
So I think he'd be able to do a deep dive and read the book and understand like where the character's coming from, be able to relate that to the audience, you know?
Yeah, that could be cool.
But yeah, dude, I think we need to move into not necessarily animation, but more of an audiobook, like an audiobook / motion comic format, you know? And it doesn't have to be totally animated. Like it could be exactly the way they have it, where they segment the panels and they zoom in and everything's just like moving along while they're explaining the book, you know? And then they tell you where you can buy it.
The videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Like they have these crazy new things. Yeah, that would be cool. Like there's this one new like storytelling, like I don't know what app it is or whatnot, but like you go into the book like that and to the panel and you open up, you come up here and like it's crazy, man. Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think I got one of those programs on here. It's just that it's not super complicated, but it's complicated enough that if I'm away from it for an extended period of time, I have to re-educate myself on a program. You know what I'm saying? And that takes a few days. And I'm like, God damn it. You know? But just sitting down with a floppy in front of you isn't going to cut it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you have to put you have to put some type of like production into it, you know?
Oh yeah.
And there's a bunch of guys in this circle that can do it. And they would make money doing it, like just off of fans going to them to like check shit out, you know. But we just need somebody to take the reins and do it, dude. But I'm not a showman like that. You know what I'm saying? But you really need somebody that's a showman.
Yeah. Do those deep dives. He was saying that from his understanding that floppy sales are way down, trades are up, manga is killing it. That sounds about right. I was in a comic store a couple months ago, and people were buying trades.
I think what's going on though is that Marvel and DC think they can just mirror manga as far as the packaging and go ahead and sell more books, but that's not why people buy manga books. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the packaging, asshole, it's the content. You know?
The dudes that came in the store, they were looking for like the boys. Like,
yeah.
And they were looking for like you know, the shit on Netflix, the Kirkman shit, you know. So it's funny because it's like, oh, it's on TV, like, you know.
Well, you notice the one thing those two books have in common is that they're both self-contained stories, you know. They're completed and they don't follow any type of political, you know, movement. You know, I mean, The Boys is basically a really brutal deconstruction of superheroes. And to a certain extent, you could even say Invincible is that too, you know?
Totally.
But both of those series have wrapped up and they're completely self-contained. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not 100%. Doing new versions of them or anything like that.
And, I like that. That's how Hellboy is too. It's self-contained.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like they're bringing them back to life to go ahead. No, dude. Like, no, they're not milking it at all. And that's one thing that they have in common with manga, right? Is like when Berserk ends, it's going to end, and that's going to be it. You know, and you see a complete timeline of fucking Guts' life contained within. Yeah. And there's no like, well, now he's back. You know, there's none of that shit, dude. You know? Or like Chainsaw Man and all that kind of shit, because they know, dude, they're on a ride, and eventually that roller coaster's going to come to a stop. But at least they were part of that movement when it was going on, you know. And I think that's what they have in common with The Boys and Invincible, even to a certain extent, maybe The Walking Dead, because didn't The Walking Dead come to an end?
Yeah, I think so.
Know? Yeah, I think Kirkman's right, dude. Like he's like his philosophy going towards comics. Like, I'm not saying his business tactics. I don't believe his business tactics are good at all. But his philosophy, how he approaches it, he's absolutely right. Like my favorite Kirkman book is Wolfman. You know?
I remember that one.
Yeah. And it was good. I liked it. I thought it was awesome. And I thought about getting into Invincible, but I've always been the type to not really like jump onto the bandwagon of shit that's popular, you know?
I was into that shit, like, because I like some of the paneling, like some of the artwork, you know, back then, like some of the beatdowns and shit like that. It was pretty fucking brutal looking. That's why I wanted to get into it, but I never ever got into it. But
I never did like his artwork,
like fighting,
like the guy that did the art on it.
Oh, Brian Otley. I like some of his artwork. I like some of the shit that he does. I like some of his, not all of it, but some of it I really like. I like some of his fight scenes, some of his designs. I like some of the shit he did on Spider-Man. Some of the lizard looked kind of cool.
His Hulk run was horrible.
I didn't see his Hulk. Like, there's just, you know, some characters just draw certain characters cool, you know? Like, I don't like McFarlane's Hulk. I think that shit looks horrible, you know? I can't stand it, you know? Love Dale Keown's Hulk, you know?
Dale Keown was made to do the Hulk.
Love,
saying, like,
what's his name that's working for fucking Eric July. He's my other Eric. He did the Hulk, the last Hulk that came out. It was a horror.
Oh, Immortal Hulk.
Yeah,
no, Immortal Hulk was the closest Marvel has ever come to doing a manga style series. You know what I'm saying? Because it was almost completely self-contained. You know what I'm saying? And it only lasted like 50 some odd issues. And it was amazing. Like, the whole series was amazing.
His art was the shit on there. And then Dan Jurgens, I think he did pretty good Hulk.
I never liked his Hulk either. I liked, believe it or not, I like John Byrne's Hulk. I
have to go back and look at him.
Todd was okay. Todd never really fit into Hulk the way he was good with the
his eyes are just way over here, you know, like it just looks kind of fucking weird. But there's this one, I don't know, I think it was Dan Jurgens. I can't remember, but it was the one where like Wolverine was cutting his guts out and it was spilling, and he was grabbing his guts and putting them back into his stomach.
That was Todd McFarlane.
Was it?
Yeah, that was McFarlane that did that. Yeah.
Maybe it was, huh?
Yeah, and there was yeah, McFarlane did that. His style wasn't quite where it was at. You know what I'm saying? When he jumped on to Spider-Man. But yeah, and then but when Dale Keown, I was never really a big Hulk fan. I went from like John Byrne's Hulk was awesome. I liked it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite artists, Angel Medina, when he jumped on the Hulk, I couldn't get into it because Angel's just not made to do the Hulk, you know?
Yeah.
But when Dale Keown jumped on it, dude, I fucking almost like sold my soul to get those books. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yeah, dude, it was crazy. Like that was that golden age for Marvel though, when they had like the best artist ever, you know? And then they didn't treat them right and they lost all of them. So, you know.
I forgot that guy's name. I think it was Joe Bennett. I think that was the guy that did the Immortal Hulk.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's working for Eric July?
Yeah. He's working for Eric July right now.
Holy shit, dude. Eric's fucking well, Joe Bennett, I think he got canceled because of a illustration he did like 20 years ago.
Yeah, he got canceled, I think. Shit's so lame, dude.
It was stupid, dude. What? Oh, he's popular. Let's dig through his Twitter and see if we can get him fired.
Yeah, right? He draws a really mean Hulk.
Yeah. And then what trips me out is
so many good Hulks. I even liked that one little Silvestri story Hulk. I like that one, was pretty cool. I don't know. There's a bunch, dude. I even liked Romita's Hulk. That was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, dude, like John Romita Jr., like there's a lot of people that don't like him, but fucking I love John Romita's work. Like I fucking love it.
Yeah, I like it too. You know, I like his work too. It's very like stylized and fun, and it's just a lot of energy. You know?
Dude, just the Thor story he did, like like when what was it, Heroes Reborn Thor? When he did that, dude, he fucking blew my mind, dude. I was like, dude, this is like the closest thing to Kirby. Oh, Arthur Adams, dude. Arthur Adams. One of the first comics that I bought was X-Men number, I think it was 11 or 10, something like that, where it was Storm on the cover, you know, and she's twirling like Thor's hammer. And dude, that shit blew me away. Like it totally changed everything. I was like, how do you draw that shit?
Arthur Adams is dope, man.
When you first discovered comics, were you trying to draw comics like the actual size of a comic page?
No, I was drawing like I was just drawing big like pictures of. I was just drawing the characters. I think I was drawing a lot of Venom. Actually, I was at a young age. I was drawing. I was trying to copy what I saw.
I was too, but I was trying to draw comics, like do panel work, like on on a page of 8.5 by 11.
I didn't start doing that till later in my I think in my 20s. I started doing that. Until then, I was just drawing, just trying to copy things, like look at it and draw it, like pictures and from the book. Marvel Masterpieces. I remember one time I drew like Joe Jusko's Deadpool. I didn't even know who Deadpool was or nothing, and I was young, dude, and like I kind of nailed it pretty good, but I could never. It was one drawing I did, and I could never do that again. I don't know why. I got lucky, I guess.
Joe Jusko is fucking awesome. I like his work, and I also
dude.
like Joe Mad. Like Joe Mad's fucking insane, dude.
Joe Mad's another one, man. I love the Darksiders, man. Like that was what got me into them. My buddy was like, dude, you gotta check out Battle Chasers, and I guess it's back now. And
his run on X-Men was crazy. Like towards the end, not in the beginning. In the beginning, his work kind of looked and then people started knocking. That's one thing I noticed. Like when somebody had a super stylized style, like Joe Mad or Rob Liefeld, people would they would do the cheapest version of that style and get hired everywhere. Right? And it's kind of like they would flood the market with this garbage version of like Joe Mad or Rob Liefeld. And then, but what it did was it kind of spoiled Rob Liefeld's style for me. You know what I'm saying? And to a certain extent, it spoiled Joe Mad's style until Joe Mad was like, I'm just going to evolve, bitch.
Can we go video games now?
Exactly. So, well, even at the end, like towards the end of his X-Men run, when they did the fucking, what was it where they killed all the X-Men on Earth, and then they had this series where Wolverine had one arm.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
one
Forgot what it's called, Apocalypse, I think now, or
something like
Age of
that. It was
Apocalypse.
like
Age
Age
of
of
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse,
Yeah,
and Joe Mad took over. He was doing one of the books, and he was killing it, dude. Fucking totally killing it.
yeah.
That series, that Age of Apocalypse series, like blew my mind, dude. I was
I
like,
remember
this is
that coming out and being
insane.
like, "This is cool." I just thought it was
Yeah,
just so
dude.
cool.
Like
Yeah, like
the
oh,
whole thing was cool, dude. You had like an
yeah.
evil beast, you
And
know,
like,
and fucking
oh yeah, the Dark Beast. I got the. I
yeah,
think I have the toy of that. And then they had like the Sabretooth with his little brother or something.
dude. Fuck
Like
yeah, and that was
teamed
Wild
up.
Child. Wild
Yeah,
Child was Sabretooth, like, and I was like, dude, I became a huge Sabretooth fan because of that
yeah.
shit, dude. I was like,
Sabretooth
dude,
was always my favorite X-Men. Like he was.
and the
I,
one-eyed Cyclops, you know, it
oh,
was, it's
I love
crazy,
Sabretooth.
dude.
Man.
I've
Sabretooth.
always liked him too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's just fun
I
to
got,
draw as a
dude,
kid.
I got 3 copies of the first appearance of Sabretooth.
Oh really?
Yeah, I got
For,
2
for,
slabbed and 1 loose.
for me, it was that Sabretooth book with the die cut cover by Tex, Max Texeira.
Oh, dude, that was
And that
amazing.
really just kind of
Yeah.
like even his anatomy, I think kind of like affected me at a young age, you know, like there's just these certain poses in that book and certain things. I got the whole series. I remember just like that was like the first series I remember as a kid collecting all of them going.
Yeah, dude,
I
me
need to
too.
get
Like
all
that
of
was,
these. I was so young, dude.
dude, I collected the whole series too. I was like, oh no,
Still got
Texture's
them,
doing
dude.
like Sabretooth. See, I was always a Sabretooth fan. I
Yeah.
hated Wolverine until this day. I'll just because
I
I'm like,
liked
dude,
Wolverine too, but I was just like, oh, Sabretooth's like, I don't know.
my whole thing about Wolverine, it's like this, right? He's got an unbreakable skeleton. Okay, that's cool. Oh, he's so
Yeah.
brutal. He can go against the Hulk. I was like, really? I was like, is his ligaments unbreakable? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure you could just do this. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, and then they're like, well, he's got the normal strength of a man his size. He's 5'4", right? And I'm like, so with the things holding him like this, he could just wiggle free because he's crazy. You know? So I was never, but let me put it this way, like 90s and 80s Sabretooth was brutal, dude. Like he would kill at a fucking dime. He was nuts. And the fights like him and Wolverine would get into, like he would rip that
brutal.
motherfucker apart, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, dude.
that's when I became like the ultimate Sabretooth fan. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like I was
I
like,
got into it from the cartoon. I'm just like, oh, this guy's cool. You know, he's like a werewolf kind of with blonde hair, like, you know, kind of like me, because I had blonde hair as a kid, you know.
I don't think he was ever meant to be Wolverine's
kinda
like
relate to him.
opposite. You know,
No.
he was meant to be
But
like
they're-
Iron Fist is
Yeah.
Iron Fist villain.
Yeah,
Dude,
like,
he was like,
they're just like the perfect kind of villain, like kind of like they're similar but not, you know.
to me, he was a lot
Yeah.
like Lobo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Except
Like a
they-
biker, like and shit, you know.
Yeah, except they bumped the brutality up like way, like he would just be like, "Fucking, you don't agree with me? I'll slash your ass up." You know, it's like,
That would probably be like one of my first characters if I was to write a book for Marvel. I'd do a fucking Sabretooth book. I'd do a fucking probably a bounty hunter, biker Sabretooth, you know,
exactly.
up in Canada or
Like,
something, you know. Fucking
if Sabretooth
Fight
wasn't a corporate character, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because
like real,
just-
you know.
I don't know, dude. Like that's the problem. It's like you can't get. I've learned that like over the years. Like you just can't get too close to these characters. You know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
Like
Like
they'll break you, they'll hurt you.
yeah, like Kirby said, you know, like comics will break your heart. He wasn't
Yeah,
lying,
yeah.
dude.
Oh, it
Fucking-
makes sense. That's why you got to make your own and kind of hold them pretty
yeah,
close.
like McFarlane did with Spawn, you know, and
Yeah.
not like Liefeld where he sold Youngblood. You know?
Oh, totally, dude.
It's crazy. Did you ever hear that story? The story you told about Youngblood? Like
No.
he sold it to somebody and then he was saying, "Hey, I want to relaunch Youngblood." And the guy told him, "Well, I'll let you try out to see, you know, if you want to do some pages, sample
Yeah.
pages to see how you draw Youngblood now." And he was like, "Motherfucker." He's like, I created that shit.
Yeah. That's so sad. Oh man, imagine that. Like I mean, if you want to draw Doc Salem, I'm gonna need some pages.
Yeah, no, I'll let you audition, you know.
Nine Devils. Well,
Well, you know,
How
I
are you
own
now?
it now, so
how are you now? I mean, how many pages can you do a month? It's like, fuck you, motherfucker.
exactly. And he said that burned his ass, and I was like, dude, why'd you
Oh,
sell it? Did you really need money that badly that you fucking had to sell your IPs? You know, that's
Yeah.
why when he did a Kickstarter, he had to do it with fucking what was
Yeah, I seen that.
with Tombstone and and those characters.
I don't think he raised that much money either. I think it was it was like 8,000 or something.
Yeah, he never raised anything, and then he never got the book out.
Oh wow!
What was the name of that fucking book, dude? Like,
that's not good.
It was Bloodstrike.
Oh, Bloodstrike.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I think it was Bloodstrike.
I remember him. Yeah, that's like kind of like his Deadpoolian.
Dude, I love Bloodstrike. When they went from a team to just one guy, I was like, and then when Stephen Platt did the Brigade, that's what it was.
Bullet Brigade.
Yeah. And when Bloodstrike and Prophet went at it, and Stephen Platt had to draw that shit. I was like,
yeah,
this is fucking amazing.
Well, Prophet would look pretty dope in some of those panels, or some of those.
Yeah.
He was all swole, fucking fucking up like that, X'd up like in those machines and shit.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome.
Iconic iconography back in the day.
I think even though
the Prophet book, but I remember.
Even though Prophet was, Stephen Platt wasn't a good. That's why we never seen more stuff come out of Stephen Platt, because he wasn't a really good, employee, I guess. He was too much of an artist. But I really like his Moon Knight shit. It might have gotten him in the door, but it wasn't his best work, not by a long shot. When he went to work for Extreme Studios, I think Rob and them pulled something out of him that was good. Yeah. Splat's good, but he blew his career. I think Matt froze. Matt's frozen.
Yeah.
Are you back? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, man. Sorry for freezing.
It's fine. But yeah, dude, I just I don't know, dude. That's the thing, is that we can't depend on any of those people or any of those characters. That's why I don't put anything into. I'm a huge Thor fan, but what I got in my closet is all I'm ever gonna have. I'm not buying.
Yeah, Thor books. I'll get Walter Simonson's, and that's like the main book. I'll get that one, and then I ain't gonna lie, I do want to pick up those new Conan books sometime, but it's like I kind of want to get books by I want to pick up Bond's book. I want to get the fucking Doc Alpha book. There's just so many books I want to get. I kind of look at it like that, and
I think,
and then there's old books I want.
The cool thing about Conan is that it's public domain.
Yeah, and Titan's doing a pretty good job. Oh yeah, it is public domain.
So why can't we do a Conan book?
Well,
not put Conan on the cover?
I don't think it's public domain yet. I think it might be just a Red Nail story. You can only use that one story. So once something goes into public domain, it goes year by year by year. So story by story by story. You can only do story as they start to unravel.
I thought
so
Conan was. It's not. He's not public domain. I thought he was.
He's not. He's coming up on public domain. But he's not. But when things, from my understanding, when things become public domain, they're only things that are public domain are the first stories. So if it's your issue
one, Captain Marvel is public domain, but you can only draw him as the version of Captain Marvel that was public domain. You see what I'm saying? Yep. With the shitty look on his face and all that kind of stuff.
Because I know Batman's going to become public domain too, but pretty soon in 10 years. But you can only do the first year of Batman or something like that, the first story.
I'll be straight with you. I don't think any of those characters are going to be public domain. And here's the reason why. Because Mickey Mouse was supposed to be public domain 75 years ago. Well, not that long ago, but 50 years ago or something like that. And every time it came up, Disney would lobby to have the laws changed. And they succeeded every time.
Oh yeah. I know about that. Yeah, I don't know about so they're public domain in Europe. So that's probably where you get the Sumerian and stuff like that.
That's what I was saying, because they got a Conan story out there. They just couldn't put Conan on the cover. They had to put
that's the one. That's another thing I need is the Sumerian. That should get sick ass art on it.
I think if we do a Conan story and we use a K instead of a C.
Yeah, right.
And put on there the Barbarian. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think we might be able to get away with it. Yeah.
Right. Or just do our own Barbarian story.
Yeah, we could do that too.
Make up your own characters. You don't got to worry about nothing.
Or we could just we can adopt a Robert E. Howard story
feel
into, one of our characters.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
could do that, or
or
just
we
like
could just do fucking what's one of the
write
other
your own
Robert
story that you like. Solomon Kane.
Solomon Kane. We could do a Solomon Kane story because I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah.
completely public domain. I don't think you.
I don't know if Solomon Kane is yet. He might be though. He might be. I think because like there was some people I think that did a short story by them. I think Matthew Fowley did, but I'm not sure 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought didn't like Razor Fist do one?
No, he just has a Western, Ghost in the Badlands.
Yeah.
Yep. And me and Brian are going to be doing that one Puritanian book. That one's going to be kind of Solomon Kane-esque, but not entirely.
You know, there's no characters that are in public. Well, there's one, but I'm gonna change him up enough to where it's not even going to be the same character. But there's like I really don't like. There was a time when I put a lot of heart into those characters. Where I was like, I'm gonna bring this character back. Blah blah.
Yeah.
I don't really care about that shit anymore. I mean,
yeah.
I think Vaughn did it right with Terror in the Trenches. Like he was he kind of made that character his own. Changed the story, everything. Well, he kept the story to a certain extent. Like, as far as the original origin of the Black Terror, because in the original comics, he was a pharmacist and he mixed up the terror juice or whatever. And I'm like, and everybody was like, I don't think pharmacists do that. But you can suspend belief back in 1950, like, but nowadays it's a little bit harder to do that, Totally. Yeah, I mean, that book was insane. It was really, really good, And he had one Nazi on there that looked like Trapjaw.
I still got to read it. I have it, but I haven't read it. Still, though.
Oh yeah, dude. He's got one that looks like Trapjaw. Where he has these things he puts on.
Oh yeah, the Nazis in there or the Nazis.
Yeah, crazy, dude.
Monsters. Yeah,
awesome.
Sick designs, dude.
I totally want to do that. Like make a Trapjaw character.
Trapjaw's pretty cool. Huh?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I love writing stories too, man. Like I have to be in the right mindset though. Like that has to be like my main focus. Like, I mean, I could work on one thing, but if I'm in writing mode, I'm in fucking writing mode, and that's what I'm going to work on. If it's 4 months, I won't even draw anything.
I'm like that too. When I'm in writing mode, like I can't have anything but music playing in the background. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because anything else will influence me, whether it's a movie or audiobook, something like that. Because I'm listening to that and I'm not concentrating on the story running in my head. And
like for me, and like usually if I write something, I obsess over it. I'll just like obsess over it and just focus on that until it's like, okay,
this. And I have to have a drink too while I'm writing.
Oh yeah. So what's your favorite drink?
Whipped cream vodka.
Oh yeah,
on the rocks. Yeah,
you don't
like
drink
chick drinks.
Beer, do you? You don't drink beer, do you?
I stopped drinking beer when I was a teenager because I didn't really like the taste back then either. I just like getting loaded for no money with my buddies. But I did start drinking something called Wild Blue, right?
Oh, okay.
And it's a beer brewed from blueberries.
Oh, that sounds pretty bomb.
It was, the alcohol content was way higher than regular beer. Like it was like 7% instead of 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so you got a little bit more loaded on it. And it tasted like beer with a blueberry flavor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was really good, dude. They still sell it actually. And
try that stuff.
It had a pit bull like kicking a blueberry on the beer. It was really cool.
I'm just drinking this Kraken rum right now. It's pretty good.
Kraken's pretty good, but
all right.
I spoiled myself on that because I tried to down a bottle at a con.
Oh, really?
And it did not work out well. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I had a bad time. Let's put it that way.
Oh, for sure, man. I could imagine.
And the hangover. Dude,
dude.
Horrible.
Yeah, that would have been epic, dude.
But I don't really drink to get drunk anymore. Like I just drink to get a little buzzed and.
Yeah, me too. I just do it when I have the streams, just kind of relax and chill out,
Well, when I'm writing, like I have to have a drink and I'm only good for about 30 to 45 minutes.
You just fall asleep.
No, I just write as much as I can within that time.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's like the well kind of starts to run a little dry.
Yeah.
And I need to like let what I put down like simmer and
Mm-hmm.
kind of to see where I go from there, or if I want to change anything, you know.
Yeah.
But when I'm writing, I get into this like frantic mood where I'm just like
Me
constantly
too.
typing and trying to get it down on paper,
Yeah,
as
me too.
quickly as possible.
Especially when I come up with like a new idea now, I like have it on my phone, like for like a comic or something, like a
Yeah.
whole like IP, like like frantically just put it
I
down.
wish I could do that. I tried doing text to voice to, text, and I was like, but then it came out all shitty. Like it was like, he goes in here and he was doing this, and it was like, this dog black.
Oh yeah.
The fuck? That's not what I put down.
I have to like if I'm and then once I get into that, I have notebooks like so like I'll have a whole notepad like just I'll like write all my dialogue out like by hand, I don't know. I just like to do it like that, and then I'll type it up afterwards. Then I'll print out the whole script, dude, and I'll staple it into a book, and I carry it around with me.
I used to do that, but then I started like I would just open Notepad. But I
Yeah.
don't go to a job anymore. So what I do is like I'll take about 45 minutes, something like that. When I don't have a bunch of stuff in front of me. Right now, I'm about halfway through the Doc Salem script, and I realized that I made a major error. Right, like
It happens.
and it like I didn't realize it until a couple of weeks ago.
It always happens, dude.
And because I'm constantly thinking about, in the back of my head, I'm always thinking about the script and how far I've gotten.
So many things, going on.
Yeah, and I'm at like 29 pages, and I realized I made a serious error, because there's certain things when you're writing a story. Like I think as artists and writers, you try to explain everything, like at each movement, and you don't have to, because nobody wants to wait and say, oh, well, now the character has to draw all the way here, like nobody wants to hang on for that. You know what I'm saying? Like they want, and I think that's where I think Lit influenced me a little bit on that too, because with his Doc Alpha story, like he wasn't lying, dude. Like it's all action. It's like one thing leads to another, and then it's like a Japanese fucking movie, like an action movie. It's like it's just nothing but fucking all out blood, gore, and fucking hitting this and destroying that. And I'm like, that's where I'm kind of going with Doc Salem. And I made a mistake because whenever you start out and you start going into an action scene, you don't want to come to an abrupt stop. You know what I'm saying? Because once you do that, you just killed all the momentum that you built up, And so, so that's what I realized, like while working on that. So that's something I have to go back and fix. But right now, I'm like completely involved in non-devils. So I'm constantly like reading Brian's story and contemplating where, like how much I want to expand on and how much I want to diminish. You see what I'm saying? And going from there. And I think that's why I work with Brian so well, is because Brian's like, he doesn't mind that. You know what I'm saying? Like expanding on different things, and he's open to it. Like nothing's really written in stone.
You got to do that. You can't have the story, I don't think, like kind of shackled up.
Yeah.
Like for me, like that's why I like walking around my little script. You know what I mean? And I write in the script. I'll draw in there. I'll do little notes.
See, that's awesome. So you got like almost like a Bible that you go by when it's time to do it. Yeah.
It's just this stapled up little, my for hell were, and I'm going to change this around and I'll notate I'll write on it,
You don't have a diary that you use, like a 3-ring diary or something where you could just fold it over, sketch a little bit in there and write?
Well, actually what I do is I actually got this like book that was a 3-ring. It was, it's actually like a character design book where it's like half the page is blank. And then there's like probably like 10 lines that go down.
Oh,
so I
cool.
drew, and I got it at the Dollar Tree, dude. I was like, what? Yeah. I bought like 3 of them, dude. And I'm like, so I did like, I'll do character designs, like the front and the back, like the turnarounds for each character. And then I'll just do designs under that. And then as far as the story goes, I wrote it all out like in a 3-ring binder, then I typed it out, printed it out. Once it was printed out, then I stapled it into like a packet, and then that way it's typed up and I can read it better because I write in cursive. Sometimes I write real fast, and
Yeah.
So if I
You know what's fucked up? Like they phased out cursive. Like cursive isn't being taught in schools anymore.
I don't think I think they're teaching it still at my daughter's school.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Because I know down here in Louisiana they don't teach it anymore.
That's
like,
what I heard. They don't
print.
teach it at a lot of schools. So I'm like, they're teaching that shit. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. Like, because for me, I use it because it's fast. Like you just loop everything together. You know,
exactly.
It helps me really quick.
Now, what's even cooler is that if you want to write a secret message to somebody, just write in cursive. And they have
right.
No idea.
100%, man.
All right.
Now, too. I was gonna say I got a thumbnail book too.
Oh, like that's cool.
For every page I do, I thumbnail it.
I tried doing that, dude. The problem is that me trying to stay within those parameters sucks. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, this is how I lay shit out, like on a piece of 11x17 typing paper.
Oh, okay. You know what
I'm saying? So yeah. I'm actually laying it out at actual size, and I scan it in and print it out. So it's, you know what I'm saying? So I tried doing it smaller, but I don't know, dude. It's just something about doing small shit. I just I get claustrophobic, and I'm like,
it is, dude. It's kind of weird. I draw. I do it small. I just do it on like little copy paper, you know.
Plus, Rob Liefeld, he said when he did the Youngblood, he would do the sketches, scan the sketches, and just elaborate the sketch. Well, his thumbnails, you know, just draw over his thumbnails. And I was like, that's pretty fucking smart, dude. You save a lot of time that way, you know.
Time too.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a trip, dude. Oh, wow. But, we're going on 3 hours, and I gotta eat.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna get a little grub too, and go back. KITARU Witch Hunter. You got your short story in there and an alternate cover, right?
Yeah.
I got a link in the description. I also got a link to Preston's link tree, so you can go check out all the cool stuff that he's got. And yeah, man. Thanks for coming on the show, man. It was awesome having you on, kicking it with you, going into your process, learning about how you were galvanized in your art career. Yeah, man, it's been fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, definitely. You should. Maybe I'll come on your channel one day and I'll interview you.
Yeah, right.
That'd be sweet. So, Matt?
Right. That'd be dope. Or I go on your show.
Yeah, we'll do an art of survival tactics on my
right.
show.
Oh, hell yeah. I love those.
Yeah. Because I'm sure you have some war stories that you can. That's actually, I think that's what I'm going to do too. Is do some art of survival tactics and have different artists on to talk about their time, like the bad times, you know, and how they got through it. Because I think people need to know that, dude. You know what I'm saying?
I'm actually in the best time of my life right now. Like I'm actually doing good, so it's kind of cool. But yeah,
there to be times when people try to take advantage of you or something like that, right?
Not really. No, I don't.
Really?
To be honest, I don't have many stories.
That sucks. Well, you can't come on then.
But I'll talk.
I'll try to be a co-host. I'll talk to Sim.
I'll tell you. Yeah, Sim. Yeah, I mean, I got some things, but you know, I don't know. Still learning.
Fun. Yeah, I know there's a bunch of people. I'm sure Vaughn's got a bunch of stuff you can talk about where people try to take advantage of it.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude.
But you know, that's funny though, because I noticed that coming up is that like it's almost like you remember that song by Slipknot, Pulse of Maggots? You know?
Sounds familiar. I think so.
And, I think he wrote that because all these people, like once he became famous, they were like trying to latch on to him and like, you know.
Yeah.
It's almost like that too, right? Like because when they recognize that you have talent, you know, it's automatically like they don't look at you as a potential friend anymore or colleague. It's like you just have a $sign right on your forehead. You know, like how much can I get out this motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? It's true though. Like that's what happened to me anyway.
It sucks, man.
You know, it's education. You got to be educated in that shit.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. So you know, we'll talk about it. We'll have an art of survival tactics one day.
Oh, for sure, man.
Shit. You know? But
hell yeah. Well, thanks for coming on again, man. Where can everybody find you at?
You put my link tree in description.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's a good one. So you got that, and yeah.
Where can they find you, Matt?
Well, you can find me on Twitter. It's at Runecutter Comic, and my Instagram's Batmerk.
Do you have any books out on?
Actually, I don't have any books out right now, but I mean, I have Butch Cleaver 1 and 2, but you'd have to DM me for that. Some people are telling me I should do maybe launch like a second chance campaign, maybe on from my comics. So I might do that in a few months. I don't know.
Or you could probably do a trade. You know, how many books do you have? You have a bunch right now, right? Like
just
3?
2. Just 2.
You don't? I thought you had 3 books.
No, I just have 2. I had 3 floppies that I comprised into one book that I've had for years, and then I made a second book, which is all new material.
How many pages?
The first book is 72. The second book, I think, is 52 pages.
Yeah, dude, you could totally do a trade. Like that's more than enough. Over 100 pages. That'd be pretty awesome. Like consolidate it and just do a trade.
Oh yeah,
I'll do a cover for you.
You
can go ahead.
I could do that. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be awesome. So everybody go hit Matt up for his book.
Right. Slide into the DMs.
Check him out on Twitter.
Right.
Check out my link tree because I got stuff in there.
Yeah.
I think that's
about it, Matt. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah. And thanks everybody for watching. And yeah.
Yes, thank you all for watching.
And I'll be seeing you guys next week. I think we're going to be having on Edwin talking about Bloodbone. So
Bloodbone actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty dope.
That'd be awesome.
And yeah, thanks everybody for watching.
Is Edwin getting naked on stream? So he'll be talking about Bloodbone,
right? All right.
He's got some issues if he's got Bloodbone. Like I've heard
it's a new thing. Oh yeah. Well, see you guys later. Always remember to be bold, be brave, and roll the bones to know you roll. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.